Let me know when it's
Yeah,
recorded. It's on.
it's recording.
All right, cool. Sam, what's going on, hemoglobin? Hemoglobin, hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin, dude.
I
What the
read that
hell?
shit. I read that shit way quick.
Hemoglobin.
This shit was quick. Yo, so
Bro.
what's your grievance? What's your grievance was fucking Uncharted? Why you don't like it?
Okay, let me change the title real quick.
You can walk and talk at the same time.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on. Doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Let me change the space name real quick.
Yeah, he just changed it. This space name. How you doing?
Doing all right, boss. Yourself?
Doing good. I'm doing well.
All right.
We're gonna be talking about Elden Ring
Oh,
and
sweet.
its graphics. Its graphics.
Yeah.
It's graphics.
No, so yeah, no. Just a little background. I play on both. I got the Series X and I got the PS5. I consider
Shit.
myself more of a Series X guy, so I'll just put that out there. But I'm still a PS5 fan too. So I don't know if I'm supposed to like put that out as a disclaimer. Like,
No. This is
No, it
what
doesn't matter.
you know. What I mean, it's good to have a little bit of a difference. Obviously, with the name, PlayStation cultures, we are
You you think?
PlayStation centric.
Trust
no,
me,
that's
man.
super
Like,
cool. Yeah, no, that's super cool because I saw it and I participated in Xbox ones and I just saw the PlayStation name and I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump in there and see what these brothers are saying.
Yeah, it's about to get. You know how these. I don't know if you've been in any other spaces, but these shits take a long time to kind of like. Not long time, but it takes a little bit to start moving. But
Yeah, I've done two of them.
yeah, for some reason, I mean, typically we just have a conversation regardless of what's going on, and when people jump in, kind of entertain.
Right on, brother.
Before we go on, before we talk about Elden Ring and its graphics, um, what's your grievance with Uncharted for the both of you? I know, Duba can't. He wasn't feeling that Uncharted movie. So what's your problem? What the problem is?
are you asking me or
You,
Hobgoblin?
you, you the one that had the issue.
Okay, so well, all right. So as far as the story, man, it's hard to say exactly which direction that they're going with it, obviously. But my biggest issue with it is that they don't feel like the characters. So, like Tom Holland doesn't really feel or sound like Nathan Drake at all. He doesn't
Big
look like him at
facts.
all. You know, same
Say it
thing with
again.
Mark Wahlberg. And I was just saying, like
You
the
may want
people
to
that they.
you may want to back up from the mic a little bit.
I have my headset on right now.
I said back away from it or something.
It's on my head. What do you want me to take it off my head?
I don't know. It's lower your volume.
Let me just take it off my head real quick.
I'm
Hold
trying.
up.
I'm trying to catch it. I'm trying to catch it before it gets all crazy. All right, go on. You said that they don't feel like the characters.
No, they don't. They like Tom Holland doesn't feel, look, or sound like Nathan Drake. You know what I'm saying? Neither does Mark Wahlberg. And it almost seems like they don't really. They didn't. It almost feels like they didn't even really give the energy to try to sound like them. You know what I'm saying? Like Mark
I,
Wahlberg just sounds like fucking Mark Wahlberg. You know?
yeah, you don't have that
And
raspy cigar, nicotine stained vocal cords that
I mean,
some of
at
them have.
least at least give him a mustache, man. I'm like, come on, bro.
No, I think I know what they're doing. I'm gonna tell you. So Hobgoblin, have you ever played Uncharted game? Let me ask you
Yeah,
that.
I played them all. I was a big fan of the franchise on PS4, and I agree with the Mark Wahlberg thing because as another Irish idiot from South Boston, we're definitely not Nathan Drake. So I'll give you that one. No, I love the franchise. I like the game. I was a little the ending of the last one, the fourth one, I think it was. I mean, it was you got that nice romanticized ending. He wound up with the girl, he had the kid, the beachfront property, all that. I think it left a lot open. I think Uncharted is a series where you could do a lot. I mean, you could even explore Sully as a character in a standalone. There's a lot of characters there. There's a lot of depth. I think it's a great franchise. I think it managed not to be a Tomb Raider ripoff, which is fantastic. I think it kind of developed its own soul, its own identity.
Yeah, right.
Because 10, 15 years ago when I was a little kid and played the first one, You know that I mean I wasn't a kid, I was like maybe 12, 13. I was like a teenager almost. Um
It's
I
crazy.
was
It was
almost
that
a
long
little
ago.
I know, right? God, I feel old.
Fucking Christ, man.
I know. So I like the franchise. I think there's a lot of places I could go. Vis-a-vis the film, I got to agree with the other brother. Tom Holland is not. He doesn't come off as Nathan Drake to me. I mean, you could arguably say that Tobey Maguire didn't come off as Spider-Man. That ended up being a great franchise. He did an excellent job. So I'm gonna give it time. You know, I'm gonna go into it optimistically. I'm gonna pray to God it doesn't end up like the Assassin's Creed movie. Yeah, franchise just by virtue of how terrible the production's going to be. So I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm going to give it a chance. You know, I think that's the fairest thing anyone can do with it.
You know, I gotta say a couple of things.
It feels
Firstly,
like it's.
yeah, nigga. God damn!
Why you always cutting me off, man?
I gotta say that I love your accent, dude.
Oh,
I
thanks, bro.
got
Appreciate you.
it's authentic.
Yeah, the lady that
Secondly,
cuts my hair told me I sound like I break kneecaps for a living, and I just kind of sitting there like, all right, I'll take that, you know.
you
I know
gotta
you
say
get
at some
tired of
point.
hearing that.
You gotta say at one point. Forget about it. At one point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, so
I know you're
I'm in
not,
the
but the Boston it sounds very. It sounds to me like that. I don't know. What are you about to say?
No, yeah, we're
You know.
similar. No, I'm in the military right now. So the good news was the minute I got to my unit and they heard me, and then, I've never had to carry that 64-pound radio. You know what I mean? They don't want me
Real
doing
shit.
that. So I feel like, it's definitely had its ups and downs. It's definitely had its advantages. I've never had to carry that or use that thing. So, because apparently I'm indecipherable. So, I make it work.
And you didn't have to break any kneecaps. The
Yeah,
second,
no, not this calendar year. That's correct.
no, the second thing I want to say this. You, I could already tell, even though you and I want to ask a couple of questions regarding that. Even though you favor Xbox,
I do. Correct.
you have a pretty decent. You have a lot of people that favor Xbox don't have gaming knowledge. This is what I've noticed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
there's a lot
even
of
though,
those Halo 3 script kiddies, that
right,
state like for me, obviously I started playing when Xbox wasn't a thing. I was born in the 90s, the early 90s. So for me, PlayStation 2 was huge, PlayStation 1 was huge. I've been playing PlayStation a lot longer than Xbox. I'll be the first one that favors. I mean, I favor Xbox. I don't think it's. I love both consoles. Competition's great. I celebrate exclusives on both ends because, quite frankly, I got both. It means great games for me all around the board. I'm happy about it. But for me, yeah, I go back with PlayStation a lot longer. I think PlayStation for me was it was PlayStation and Nintendo was sort of, the nexus of my gaming childhood, whether it was, I got a Game Boy Color in 98, then I had a PS2 in 99, and then I think I got an Xbox a couple years later. So I've been playing a lot of games. PlayStation for me has always been one of those greats. I think what Xbox needs to work on, and I think Xbox has done a great job. But I think what Xbox lags is it just last generation, the PS4 was indisputably a superior system. It just was. There's no way around it. It had better titles, everything about it. Well, not everything, but it was a better console all around. Anyone that says the Xbox One was better than the PlayStation 4, that's disingenuous. And that's just a fix. I defected more to Xbox this gen because I really like where Xbox is going. I know I don't want to say the magic word Game Pass. I know that's that's going to start a war, but I think Xbox is embracing and Microsoft in general is embracing this subscription model. And the jury's still out on that. I don't think it's the be all end all. I do know that I've got a great. I mean, the same way I do with PS Now and PS Plus because I subscribe to both of them as well. I feel like I get a lot more out of Game Pass. I look at Xbox's coming first party titles and that studio acquisition, particularly with Bethesda. And yeah, it kind of bothers me because there's some of those games. I got a lot of friends on PlayStation. I would have liked to have played some of those games on PlayStation. I would have liked to have seen what the DualSense controller could do with some of those games. So I understand that because I really like that DualSense. I think it adds a whole new aspect to the gaming experience. I'm a big fan of it. So I would have liked, to have seen some of those games have the chance to come out on PlayStation. On the other hand, I look at it having an Xbox and I say to myself, okay, well, I got Games Pass. I'm going to get all these first effectively, not objective, but effectively with Games Pass. I'm going to get them for free day and date, and you add up the money and all that. And not that I wouldn't have spent the money. I would have anyway because that's who I am. But it's moved to a subscription model. I think that with the cloud gaming and the interconnectivity, I think Xbox has laid the infrastructure for what could very well be what defines the coming generations of the industry. You know, in terms of moving towards this more Netflix-esque model. I think Sony. I think Sony's invariably going to come up with something really good. I know they got that trials thing, that demo thing in the pipes. Do I think that's a proper answer? Absolutely not. But I think it's a start. I think there's a sort of cultural shift where Sony and a lot of the PlayStation fan bases, you know, grudgingly starting to accept that this is kind of almost an inevitable. And that's my opinion. I'm not, you know what I mean? If you guys disagree, I fully understand. I would like to see
Dude,
Sony. Oh, go for it. I'm sorry.
Your accent makes me think you're about to go take out a hit on someone, and you're like,
Yeah,
you're in the mafia.
I know. If
We
that
just
guy-
we just said that shit.
yeah. If I don't get my 14% vig, I swear to God, it's gonna be a real bad day at Walmart in fucking Denver. But because that's where I live now. But
That's funny, man.
so
I know where you live now.
yeah, exactly right. I know, yeah, right. You're gonna call some Italian. No, I got you.
I got your address.
You do, yep. No. So yeah. Like I was saying about PlayStation.
Can I come over?
Say what?
Can I come over?
Fuck yeah, you come over. I don't care. Come on over.
Are we gonna have pizza?
Oh, we could do
kneecaps,
pizza, but I got a very Brazilian fiance who thinks pizza is Papa's food. So I'm trying to fix that, but she's a bit of an elitist.
So let me ask you this. Right?
She eats only the.
Bit of an elitist.
Pizza?
Exactly. It's always shaped. It's always shaped like an Xbox controller.
So I want to ask you this, right?
Sure.
You pretty much answered all the questions that I had in regard to this Xbox, business. But what I was going to say, because we were talking about the Uncharted movie, I think Sony deliberately went against having the characters. It sucks, but I feel like since Tom Holland is such a big face, especially with the Spider-Man, they deliberately
true.
wanted him to not deviate from that, just for people that are new.
Mm-hmm.
They can kind of get acclimated to the franchise and things of that nature. Like I feel like they didn't want to stick too closely to it deliberately. Now, from what I understand, the CGI and just how the trailer was structured, it was like a real movie. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the ways that Sony has decided to strengthen its IPs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
agree.
like it.
You know
I
what's
think
funny,
it's
man?
great. I agree with you. I think Spider-Man is a Sony.
I'll be right
IP.
back, guys. I got my manager calling me for some reason.
Okay, yeah, I was just say Sony's Spider-Man's a Sony IP. Uncharted's a Sony IP. It's great to have a face that younger generations will recognize and associate with the brand. It might incentivize. You know, Spider-Man plays PlayStation. Nathan Drake plays PlayStation. You know, I think it's good marketing. At least in theory, we'll see how that works. But I can see what you're saying.
I think he jumped out, man. He's gonna be back though. But geez, man, it kind of sucks, man, because I actually thought about that too. What Josh just said, because unfortunately, Tom Holland right now, he's a big actor. Mark Wahlberg, obviously, he's been around for a long time, and a lot of people know him and they love him as an actor. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would want to do something like that, just to kind of get people who are new to the franchise, who probably never heard of it, this, that, and the third, to jump in and kind of like, get fresh eyes on the franchise. So,
I agree. I think it's a good move. I mean, at least in theory. I would have liked another actor though. Ultimately.
well, I bet you more than likely, it's gonna piss off some of the the hardcore fans, man. More than likely, because like I personally, look, I'm not gonna judge the movie. I was gonna say I'm not gonna judge the game, but I'm not gonna judge the movie just yet because I don't know. I don't know how the story's gonna go. I can't, definitively say that it's gonna be like a shit movie, but I don't like the implications already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's big for me.
I do. I think a lot of it is video game movie. The video game movies in general have not been, whether it was Assassin's Creed, whether it was Max Payne, they've not maybe it's just guys like you and I that are a little older that kind of started a little bit more at the beginning. You know, we got a lot more nostalgia for these things. You know, and
Mhm.
we've associated with them a lot more. So for guys like you and me that have, you know, been playing them, you know, for a decade, for 15 years, yeah, you know, it's not the same that we remember. I think so. It's disappointing, and I agree with you on that. I think though, ultimately, they know that guys like you and I are gonna run out and get Uncharted 5 for PS5. We're gonna do it. You
You
know?
know what? They know we're gonna watch it too.
Yeah,
They know we're gonna watch the
exactly,
movie.
exactly. We're gonna
They're gonna
watch
be
the
like, yo,
movie.
yeah, they're gonna hate it. Oh, not gonna hate it, but you know, they're gonna begrudgingly go watch the movie if they
Yeah,
don't like the direction so far, and they're still gonna get the money. It's like
exactly. Like they
whatever.
know they got my $9 for the ticket. You know, like I'm not who they're trying to reach. You're not who. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it is now with this new generation. You got a lot of guys Gen Z. You know, because I'm a millennial, and then you got the next group of guys. I think they're trying to branch out, appeal to a wider, for commercial reasons, obviously. You know, like anything else. So yeah, it's a little different for you and me. You know, but I think fundamentally, you know, they haven't really changed the character too much. You know, from at least from what I saw in the trailer. You know, he's still vaguely the same aesthetic. You
Yeah,
know,
there we go.
even the scene with the, you know, the
What's
cargo
up, baby?
plane, like we've all played that scene.
Yo, what's going on,
You guys
baby?
talking about the Uncharted movie, man? You guys talking
Yep.
about the Uncharted movie?
Come on, man. Yeah, and I'm a huge Uncharted fan, man. But you know, for me, man, because I obviously, well, you guys probably don't know, but I really enjoy watching movies, you know, and I enjoy games as well, you know, both for their own, you know, kind of separate reasons and similar reasons too. But one of the big things for me when it comes to movies is that I like, especially if it's a movie based off of like an IP that already exists. I want the freaking characters to feel like the characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
I
want
do.
them to. Yeah, I mean it because like that's what makes them who they are. You know, their identity. Like that's really important for me, man. You know, and it's just like from what I saw of it, it's just I don't know, man. Like they didn't feel like the characters, man. It was one of the issues that I had with Uncharted 3, the game. You know, because when I played Uncharted 3, as much as as much praise as it got in the media, dude, like there were a lot of things that I didn't like about the direction of how they portrayed the characters, you know. And look, man, it's a freaking story driven game. You
Yeah,
know, the narrative is going to take front and center. So obviously the characters have to be strong characters. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
We out here making movies, bro. What's the world coming to these days?
Hey, man,
Nah,
that's that
nah,
marketing, bro.
I'm playing. I'm playing. No, I'm with you on the aspect how the characters feel out of place, man. Because you know why? Why in the fuck are you freaking putting Mark Wahlberg as fucking Sully? That makes no sense.
Yeah, it should have been an older
Granted, I
guy
know
with a
it's an origin
mustache.
story. I understand that it's an origin story. It's a younger version of Drake, which again makes literally no sense. Fucking at the same time, it like okay. I watched the show about 3 or 4 times just so I can suck everything all in. And I can tell you, there's a lot of iconic
Oh,
scenes from the game. They're definitely
oh,
mimicking
Yeah.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
Pause on that, by the way. Thank you for that. But which is awesome. I mean, fucking, the whole plane scene from taken right from Uncharted 3 is insane looking, dude. But my issue is the casting choices. Now again, I really can't complain too wholeheartedly because I'm in love with the new Resident Evil movie that's coming out. That casting is atrocious as fuck.
Oh
So
yeah, it does.
I really
Does look
can't say
bad.
I'm not going to see it. Here's the thing: overall, whether we like it or not, it's based on a fucking video game. It's automatic fucking going to be garbage. Every freaking video game adaptation film that's ever been created, good or bad ones, are still technically bad in their own right.
I don't know. I give Tomb Raider a pass. I don't
I
know if
mean,
that
was
was. I don't know if that was me just trying to stare at Angelina Jolie's ass for like 2 hours,
Facts,
but
that's
you know,
facts,
it
that's
was.
probably part of it.
super
I know
facts.
it definitely was. Like yeah, like because
That
everyone
was in
knows
her prime days, bro. That was in her prime
Well,
days
yeah,
too when she
because
came out with that
everybody
movie.
here who ever had a PS1 knows that Tomb Raider was the first game where we deliberately altered the angle so we could see it. You know what I mean? Like that was the first
Yeah,
thing we ever
absolutely,
attempted there.
absolutely. Angelina Jolie at the time had the right titty size to do it too as well.
Fatal,
Absolutely.
don't act like you wouldn't fuck Angelina Jolie right now
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
had the chance. Come
Absolutely.
Are you fucking kidding me, bro? In her prime? Dude, have you
No,
seen
I'm talking about right
her?
now. No, she was
Right
sexy
now?
back in the day,
Aging
obviously.
like this, man.
Not
I
so
bet
much
for a Social
now.
Security check.
Yeah,
Still take
not
it.
so much now, no. But in her
No,
prime,
bro, you are
like no. In
so
her
hard,
prime,
bro.
like Gia Day prime, bro.
Bro,
Oh,
Dude,
okay.
there was
she
a
has
rumor
the
there was a code to
perfect.
take off her clothes. I tried that shit 100 times a day for 3 fucking months, dude.
Yup.
Wait,
For
we're
3
talking about
months.
Angelina Jolie, or you're talking about a video game character being naked, bro?
I was like 12, dude. All I had was the Sears catalog.
Hey, listen, yo, dude, don't even get me going on that shit. Don't even get me going on that
I
shit.
remember the days at
Let's take a peek
AOL.
at the lingerie section this year for the Sears Wish Book.
Low key, you guys want to laugh? I found a cat. This is a true story. When I was going through basic training, right? So it might just, I don't know if any of you guys were in the military, but it's
I
60 guys. Okay, yeah. So I did basic at Fort Leonard Wood, So I had OSIG because I have a combat MOS. There's no platoon sergeants. There's no AIT, none of that shit. You're an OSIG. Like, you got drills the whole time. So the one weekend pass we got for like 2 hours, right? I found I think it wasn't Victoria's Secret. It was another like knockoff Victoria's Secret catalog. And we never got out again. Like, this was like 6 weeks before graduation. And I swear to God, I think I beat off more to that magazine. Because it was all we had.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I'm
Magazine
in.
alone, like that came in clutch more than
I got you, Josh.
I had my laptop, and I don't know how it got around. My commander goes in, and he goes, Nelson, you're not supposed to have porn. I heard you got a shit ton of porn. I said, no, sir. He goes, relax. I just want to copy it. Is that cool?
He's like,
I was like, all right. He's
Fucking
like,
back up his shit on a fucking
dude,
floppy
I'll be
drive.
I'll be back in
guys,
4 or 5
what-
hours.
What did
Holy
I
shit.
miss?
oh, we went from video games to Angelina Jolie's ass to me and him being in the military beating off. Not together, solo.
Why? Why does this follow me everywhere I go?
Dude's beating
I don't
off.
understand.
You bring it upon yourself, Josh. You bring
This
it
is right
upon
up your
yourself,
alley,
sir.
Yeah, no shit. That is your fucking goddamn.
That's Josh's motto.
I'm always look. That's one thing. Underneath this poised appearance is a perverted nigga. Anyway, so I will say this. So now I'm back. I thought I was in trouble because I be doing some crazy shit at my job. My manager called me. He was like, "Can you help me with this?" I'm like, "Nigga, I am working right now."
I mean, you're my boss.
He's
You
like,
are my
"Thanks,
boss."
kid. Let me know if you need anything. Yeah, give me an extra week off, man, so I can do whatever I want." Either way, so
It's funny.
wait. Pause. What's up, Black? And I know you were listening to this, and I know you probably said, "Hey, fucking yo!" So anyway,
Yo, I had to catch Fatal on the pause earlier, man.
he's always paused, man.
Actually, yes.
What was going on in the military? You saying that? What did you guys do in the military?
So in basic training, right? I'm a 12 Bravo, which is a combat engineer. So basically,
I did 12 and 21 Echo. I did operating and I did combat cross train. So
okay, yeah, right on. So where your job is called an MOS. So where everyone in my job goes, it's a fucking special hellhole called Fort Leonard Wood. Oh God, it's awful. It's just like it's in Missouri with that hillbilly swamp nuts heat. It's just the minute you
Big
get out of
Louis
base,
was the only good spot though.
It's
Hey, Nelson. Hey, calm down, Nelson.
Kid, women there.
I might have seen women there, but I did basic there, so I showered.
So did I,
14
and the
minutes.
AIT.
So what
I got
I'm
out
trying to
in
get,
AIT.
what I'm trying to get to is the AO moment. What was
Okay,
why?
so what happened was we got out. Like, we never got out, mostly because the grand majority of us were felons. So we got one weekend. We got to go out for like 3
So
hours.
you did break some kneecaps.
Oh no, I did. I did break a guy's nose with a fucking washing machine door once, though. Yeah, for snitching on the platoon. I just fucking spotter kicked that shit when he was putting shit in it. It broke his nose, and then the drills called me down, and they were like, "Did you break his nose?" I was like, "No, drill sergeant." Then they were like 2 other guys who saw it happen. They're like, "Did he do that?" And they were like, "No, drill sergeant." And he asked the other guy, and he's like, did he do it? He's like, yeah, he broke my fucking nose, drill sergeant. And he's like, I'm gonna ask you one more time, Private, did you do that? And I was like, drill sergeant, you've made abundantly clear to all of us, violence against another soldier is grounds for separation from the army. And then he looked at the other kid and he was like, I guess he didn't. He says he didn't do it. And he just walked away. Like, he didn't want to do the paperwork. Like, I had 2 guys lie for me. I didn't do it, So I got out of there. But what I was saying about it was I found a catalog. It wasn't Victoria's Secret, but it was like some knockoff. But it was like the first time in like 3.5 months you'd seen like an actual human female, So it's just like,
I thought you were going to say fetus. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the fucking Halo music started playing. Fucking.
I was in a combat unit, so it was no fucking rods.
Yeah, you know how that is.
Yeah.
So you're telling me with this catalog?
Oh yeah. I mean,
you were by yourself, right? You were by yourself, right?
I was beat off by myself. Like, it wasn't a group activity.
No,
but like, what would happen would be, I mean, it was like pathetic. Like, I remember I literally nutted to like the fall catalog. How many guys in 2021?
Jesus Christ.
I was just like, oh my God, it doesn't have a beard, holy shit.
Like, how old, dude? Like, what? You went back to like 13 years old and shit.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, when you were 13, I mean, I don't know how old you guys are. When I was 13, it was like you had AOL. So you turn that bitch on, it would sound like Skynet taking over the planet.
Yeah, every time I do that, my mom would know I'm getting on porn. Fucking got
yeah, right.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you this. All right, before we go on to our actual topic, right? This shit is absolutely incriminating, right? So I'm pretty sure.
I love it, man.
I'm pretty sure you hear the blackness in my voice. I'm sure you know I'm black. Anyway.
No, we can't see it. We can't see it.
Once upon a time, this is a experiment. Once upon a time, right? I was a very professional, prude young fellow.
Sure you were.
And the only thing I've ever cared about when I was younger is just video games. That's it. It was just nothing. And then I'm hanging out with my white friends, and they're playing The Legends of Zelda and Final Fantasy 9. I'm 36, by the way. They're playing this shit.
White people things, yup.
Right? And, his mom came in there. They was like, I'm about to go to the store. Do you want some cookies? And he was like, no, Mom, shut up, bitch. She was like, all right. And she walked away. Right? So I'm looking. And as soon as she closed the door, his brother gets up and looks out the window. He was like, she's going. He was like, all right, Sean. They ran upstairs. What the fuck's happening? What's up? He was like, I got something way better in video games. I was like, what? So he goes upstairs. He has a VHS. He runs downstairs. He was like, this. I was like, the fuck is this? Why? I don't want to watch no damn movie. He was like, no, you're going to watch this movie. You're going to love it. He pops that shit in the VCR, right? Turns that shit on. And big black booty bitches. I was like, what y'all know about this shit? Sit there. So anyway, they're watching in my house. I was raised by all sisters, basically. So I didn't really know anything about this shit. I had no fucking clue about pornography, like visual videos. Right. So they sitting there watching it. I'm like, I'm going to do this. This shit is kind of awkward. I thought this shit was like a little private. I was like, I'm going to try to remember this shit, store this shit in my fucking memory. And then act like I have to go home and do some homework.
So, you would fucking do some shit like that.
So I was like, I saw they sit there and this fucking Jonathan was like, I can't hold it anymore. Fuck it. Just don't look at me. Pulls his day off, start beating off. Sean was like, I want to do it too. And then Tariq, which is another black kid, he was like, fuck it. I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, I can't say I've ever been in that position.
No, that was when I was like 13 though. But it was like he was like, "Come on, Josh, stop being gay."
Yeah, if you don't whip your dick out with the rest of us, you're such a queer.
You're fucking gay, yo. Stop being a bitch.
I mean, I had porn break my. I was one of those guys. I actually had porn break a computer, and I blamed it on the dog. So here's what happened.
Oh shit! I want to hear this one.
Back in the days of AOL, right? You guys remember AOL with the dial-up and all that?
Not Duba, because he's.
I do very well, sir.
I said Duba.
It was a fucking
Shut the fuck up.
tornado alarm to let people know you were fucking getting on porn.
Exactly. And so here's the problem, right? I know that little yellow, but you got shut the fuck up, dude. You know. So here's what happened.
Yeah, I've been holding towels over it. Like, don't wake up my mom. I want to fucking beat off. God damn it!
I strategized. No,
Fucker was screaming.
All my blankets from my room. I was like 12 years old. And I figured if I put all the blankets over the computer,
that's what I did too.
It would minimize the sound, right?
Yeah,
so
dude, that bitch screamed.
The problem was when you grow up in a very white trash neighborhood in South Boston, internet connection is not exactly, shall we say, in the late 90s, early millennium. It's not, 5G, So it took a while for this AOL to connect. And the whole time I got these blankets over the fucking thing, So, and back in the day, it was funny because you would just go to Google, because that was the only website that existed, was Google.
Google? I thought it was
Google
XG.
wasn't out that back then.
Oh, yeah, you did have
like,
XGs.
Web crawler, fucking Yahoo and shit.
Yeah, MSN you had, that's true. Well, Google was a thing, and Google had just come out. It was like web and images. There was none of these fancy other fucking matrix-ass fucking categories that you could click next to it, Just
Fair share was revolutionary.
So and this is what I did.
You mean Kazaa?
Maybe it was first, I don't remember.
I went to Google. I literally typed in the word boobs, and I'll never forget it. And it took a minute, and I was beaten off before the areola had rendered. It was I was like, it was just nothing but like tan squares and maybe a little fucking, and I was done. And so what I didn't know was when I tried to log off, the fucking computer was frozen. So I was like, shit. So I'm like, now I got this half-res boob on this screen. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, what do I do? So 12
incriminating evidence.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. I got 3 younger sisters. Nobody else was falling on that grenade. That was my fuck up. There was no deflection. So if I couldn't blame it on them, I had to sacrifice the dog. So what happened?
Fido!
Yeah. So what happened was I kept trying to hit the button on the actual the tower, the computer itself, not the monitor, to turn it off. That bitch was full. And then the computer started making a sound that it had never made before. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I ran back and I unplugged it, right? And I left it unplugged. And the desk where the computer was, I kind of pulled it out and I pushed the lamp onto the floor. I didn't break it, but I pushed it on the floor. So the next day, my parents woke up, right? And my dad, he's like this 5'7" Irish. How the fucking computer? We just fucking bought the fucking thing. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck,
Deep down inside, he knew.
I straight up saw my old man pick. I think it was we had his bowl by his khakis by the front room. He picked up a baseball. It was just and thank God the dog was quick on his feet because he was so pissed he chucked it at the fucking dog. And the dog was just a little quicker. So it just, put a hole in the drywall, which pissed him off a little more. But porn broke my computer in 2000, 2001.
Let me tell you this, right? So I had a cell phone. This bike, I used to work at a bank a long time ago, right? And it was my first smartphone.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there. I got used to the convenience of watching porn on a smartphone.
Absolutely, you got to be.
So
on your bed,
this was in the morning, right before I went into work. So I did what I got to do.
Sure.
Went to work. Drove to work. Right. I'm getting logged in and shit like that. And this girl, she was like, "Hey, you have the time?" And nobody has watches anymore. So I pull out my phone and I unlock the screen.
Uh-huh.
As soon as that shit happened, I threw that fucking phone, man. Threw it. Across the fucking call center, man. I didn't want her to hear shit. I was like, what the fuck? This shit shocked me. I was like, this phone was hot. What the hell happened? She was like, she just kind of looked down like, the fuck's wrong with you? That shit was going to tell me, yo. As soon as I turned that shit on, yo, she was getting something. I was like, yeah. I think it's 11:30. I turned that shit on. I was like,
that happened to me. That happened to me a year and a half ago.
You threw the fucking phone across the room, dude.
Across the fucking call center, yo.
No, I got
that shit was hot.
Oh my god, bro. That's so fucking funny, man.
No, so this is it. So during the coronavirus, when it first came out that March, this just in the military for 4 months, we didn't do shit. You paid my salary. I didn't do a fucking thing. all I had to do every day, because we weren't allowed to be in proximity, and they were like, "Oh, this Chinese plague's gonna kill everybody." You know? We had 4 months off, didn't do shit. All we had to do was send a text message to like our team leader or a squad leader, let them know we weren't dead in a whorehouse or with a needle in our arm or a jail cell or something, right? Accountability. Well, one day my team leader calls me. He's like, "Hey, Gio." I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Hey, man, my computer's fucked. Can I come over and use yours?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he comes over. Now, here's what happened during the Rona. You guys remember the greatest thing that happened during the coronavirus when Pornhub Premium was free? Y'all remember that? They were giving out free Pornhub Premium.
I remember it did it a couple times before coronavirus.
Well, that was the first time I'd ever seen it. Like, they were like, "Yo, Pornhub Premium's free." I'm like,
Yo,
"Fuck."
they fucked up, man, because they got rid of all the good shit on there, man.
Well, what happened was he comes over, and I had to make a fake email account, right? I was like, "Oh, God, no, she can see my email." I'm like, "I can't." So I was like, so I made a fake email account, right? Fake Gmail, signed up for Pornhub Premium, whatever, right? Well, my team leader's over. And there's a paperwork called like an EIB and LES. It's just like you leave statements, right? A bunch of shit. And he didn't have a printer or a computer because he's shit out. So he was asking me to use mine. I didn't have a printer, but I had a computer. So he was like, "Can I log into my email?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it, Sergeant." And then he was like, "You know what, man? Fuck it. Can I just send it from you?" So I go to and I hear, "What the fuck?" And I forgot that the Gmail account that was still logged in was just the Pornhub Premium. So, like, he's going down the list, and it's like Latin Mill, fucking lesbian school. I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm like, he's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, I know it looks like I watch a lot of porn, but those are just newsletters. I probably watch what's a regular amount of porn. Like, how much porn do you watch? He was just like, "What in the fuck, man?" So I didn't know it. I was like,
Delete the history. Delete the history.
He was like, I was like, "Sergeant, here, let me get you my real email." He was like, "Fuck no." He's like, "I'm gonna read every one of this." So he's like,
Fucking
it's like
terrible.
one of them was like big booty babysitters. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck that. It's just a newsletter, like I didn't know how much Pornhub emailed you. If you fucking, it's just like 70 fucking emails.
Yo, they hit you. They hit you with the setup. That's what they
The
did.
whole okey doke, bro. They caught you all off guard.
Oh, they do. So and then eventually, right? He goes through all these shit. The last thing he said was, "All right, cool, no gay shit." And then he just shut my door and he fucking walked out. I'm like, "Yeah, Roger that. Like, have a good one, Sergeant."
Okay.
He's like, "Yeah, okay, it's cool, no gay shit." I was like, "Yeah, all right, Sergeant." Like, okay, like.
All right, we got to get to the subjects here. I'm sorry that I had to. My man just scared the shit out of me, man. I'm going to tell you.
We need to touch back on it.
That was the best intro, bro. I swear to God, yeah.
Now,
I'm
you
so
guys,
glad someone else
listen.
had that screaming problem, dude. That fucking goddamn thing can fucking wake the dead. My mom would be coming downstairs immediately like, "Fuck, I'd have to plug that bitch and run to my bedroom."
Now, don't forget, guys, that whoever's watching, it's not hard. Just hit the fucking follow button. It's not.
And you watch porn too, don't judge.
It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Just hit the fucking. Whoever is in the room, hit the follow button. We do this every Thursday. Typically, it's gaming. The first thing I wanted to talk about, right? Elden Ring. So, let me address the elephant in the room, right? Before we even do Elden Ring and before we even do the co-op games for 2022, right? How do you guys feel about God of War going on to PC?
Cool. I'm pretty happy for the PC players. Hi, my name is Angelo.
Yo, what's going on, Angelo?
What's up, man?
I've been a PlayStation user since I was born. Ever since PS1 with, Crash Bandicoot. To know that PC players, I'm not a PC player, but to know that they get to experience what us PlayStation players did, I'm happy for them. I really am. Yeah.
So you're telling me that you're a calm and reasonable person. That's what you're telling me, and that you are glad that PC people could play this shit. Do you feel like it devalues the PlayStation that this game is on the PC?
I don't think it devalues what PlayStation, because here's my thing. You look at Xbox, you see them with certain games, and here they are on PC. And yeah, sure, I've seen on Twitter they've been going down and all that. But remember, Xbox is not a selfish company. You know, it's a pretty giving company. Bill Gates, all them. They're constantly giving out deals. And one of my friends is a huge PC user. I mean, Xbox user. So to know, girl, to know that people can experience what exclusive PlayStation have, like Days Gone, for example. Days Gone was one of my most favorites. And I don't know if that's going on PC or not, but if it is,
It has already. It has
Yeah,
already.
that's
Yeah,
It's
it's
on
honestly
been
a
there.
ported.
PC already.
yeah. To know that God of War is, I mean, we're going to see a lot of mods in God of War. Expect that. But to see a big exclusive like God of War going to PC, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Expect to see Kratos in a thong and actually
So,
smiling.
so what's going to happen? What I believe is going to happen? Well, let me ask you this. Well, see, you already said your name is Gio, right?
Yeah, I could give you the Xbox perspective on it if you want, because I
Yeah, actually.
so yeah, so like just so everybody knows, I like PS5. I'm definitely an Xbox guy though at this point. But yeah, so I would argue for me, I like it because one of the things that being a PS4 gamer moved me into the Xbox Series X this generation was that interconnectivity with PC. I got a lot of PC friends. Xbox and PC, by virtue of being under the Microsoft umbrella, I've always like if it comes out on Xbox, it's coming out on PC. It's a unified Microsoft-based ecosystem, which I enjoy. I think God of War is an amazing game. I think Sony Santa Monica knocked it out. Is it the game of the generation? I don't think so. Could the case be made? Absolutely. You know what I mean? If that makes sense to you, I would understand the case being made. I like it for a number of reasons. I think it's great for. I actually think it's mutually beneficial for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. The reason is this: putting a game as popular and well done as God of War. I mean, it was an amazing narrative. Everything about that game was fantastic. Putting that on PC does one thing for Sony in particular. That's 20 million units sold just on a console. Expanding that out and getting that kind of revenue that Sony can then take, reinvest in its studios, reinvest in its products, its IPs. Ultimately, that's a lot more money for creating better products for guys and want to see great games on PlayStation 5. And that money goes
That's fucking crazy, by the way, dude. The 20 million being sold on PS4, it's shit.
People clap about Animal Crossing selling like the 30 million that it sold, and Sony has two games that I know of that is at 20 million, which they still haven't given numbers for The Last of Us Part 2. But we digress. Do you think that
I
it
kind of cut him off,
devalues it?
man. I don't think he finished his thought.
Or what I guess what I'm saying is I see where that's great for Sony because that will and that will bring a lot of PC gamers right and into I wouldn't say the Sony sphere, but they'll start looking at this game. And even as an Xbox guy, Sony is the absolute master at telling a third-person action-driven narrative. I mean, it's cinematic. It's emotionally connected to the game, or whether it's The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. I think Ghost of Tsushima had the most emotional ending of a game I might have ever played in my life. When you go to do that duel. So, and I think that'll bring a lot of, it will begin PC players that have typically been in this Microsoft sort of box, will then expand out and they'll start looking at these Sony. I think it's good for Sony financially. I think it's great for their PR. I think it's great for PC because, frankly, it will expand the user base of PC gamers and other options. I even think it's great for Xbox because Xbox now is not, or Microsoft, pardon, I guess, because Microsoft is obviously pushing the Series X as this generation's warrior, but it's also pushing PC, which is why I have Game Pass Ultimate. I play on PC Game Pass. I got Steam. I do things like that, and I think ultimately it will. If you're a guy that has the money and the Skrilla, and I'm a console gamer at heart, but if you are fundamentally a PC gamer, if you are a mouse and keyboard kind of guy, I think when they start pushing PC as more of a viable option for a gaming experience, ultimately what that will do for Microsoft is if you're going to be playing on PC, you're going to get Game Pass. There's no reason not to, So I think it's going to be great for Sony because they're going to get that revenue, they're going to get that PR. It's going to be great for PC because you're expanding your user base into great new titles. And I think it's going to be great for Xbox because you're incentivizing a platform that will inherently generate Game Pass subscriptions, which will then feed into Xbox being able to do with their revenue what Sony will then be doing by putting those games on PC in the first place. I think
So let me ask you this: Do you think that it devalues the platform?
PlayStation?
whether it's
So that
Microsoft
depends.
doing this or Xbox or Sony.
So
So, are you asking
I
about the
can.
console or just the whole like PlayStation like
I'm
ecosystem?
saying taking away and making it multi-platform essentially because of the value of the console.
I will say
Okay.
yes. I actually will. I know that sounds inconsistent what I said, but here's what I'll say. I'll say it's relative. So if you are a PC gamer, if you are an Xbox gamer, like being an Xbox gamer, no, it doesn't devalue my experience as an Xbox gamer. As a PlayStation gamer, though, PlayStation's biggest claim, and it was true for a very long time, was that it was the king of exclusive titles. PlayStation was the place to play, and that was a fact. Now, I don't. I think it's not a bad thing, but when you, whatever console it is, when you take exclusivity away from anything, when you give people more options, it will inherently devalue what was at once the only option. You know what I mean? Because you can do it on so many. So I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, because I think ultimately it's a very great thing for gaming in general. But I will say, if you are a PlayStation gamer and you only play on PlayStation, you're going to get the money from this revenue. You're going to get great new games. But I think I can see why you would think it would. I think that
So
makes sense.
I think that perspective is kind of contingent on the idea that Sony is going to be releasing their new games on PC as well.
That's true. That's true. If they're all
Ken, I
4 year,
want to tell you this too. And then you can continue with this. We talked about this. We had a podcast on this, on what exactly like with the definition of exclusivity. You know what I'm saying? I think what's going to happen is all of these games are going to be timed exclusive, and that's going to be contingent on when the game's sales slow down on the console. That'll be the only time that you'll get it, because you got 20 million units being sold basically on these two games, Spider-Man and God of War, and it's
so
on that ecosystem at 100%.
I agree that is a plausible scenario. But just to play devil's advocate, and I don't mean if anybody can cut in. I realize I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Feel free to cut me off at any time. I would say, however, though, and this is where I think this is where I think Xbox is a bit of a lead, because they have the infrastructure in with the subscription service and this day and date model, and I think ultimately it's not the wild success that, especially this quarter, that they would have liked, because there was no Forza, no Halo, nothing to really, no major first. So I get that, but I think that
Yeah,
is
he knows
ultimately.
his shit.
No, yeah, no, I mean, I get it. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect. The results were not ideal at a corporate level, but it is expanding. 37%. If that's the last number I saw. That might have changed, shifted to the left or right, what have you. But 37% is by definition exponential growth. It's double digits, right? It's successful by any metric. So I think the problem is this. I think Sony's going to look at, because Sony makes fantastic games. The first party studios are amazing. All these studios, Sucker Punch, Insomniac, Guerrilla Games, these are great studios. They make great games. I think Sony's going to look at how well these games have done. They're going to look at how successful this day and date subscription model's been for the biggest competitor. And my honest, and I saw the Jim Ryan interview, and he says he wants to reach hundreds of millions. Doesn't matter whether you have a Switch and Xbox or hundreds of millions on.
He's moving the clouds. What he was referring to, and it's kind of got lost in translation rather. There's a lot of people that say that thought he was talking about just game consoles. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
can't reach hundreds of millions of people on a computer unless it's MOBA, and even then,
Yeah.
or consoles. So like, I think what he's trying to do is, because he was saying in the same breath about cloud gaming and stuff like that, and that's why I believe that these subscriptions are going to come through. Whether he has like a launcher or whatever the case is, or service,
Sure.
I don't know. Who knows?
So
I
you
wanted to
don't
address.
foresee a day and date model? You
No,
don't foresee? Okay,
no,
see,
because
that's where I do.
I don't think they will.
the reason why I don't see a day and date model is because it's too the money, the profits or the revenue and profit has to be split between whatever launcher that they're releasing. Or
Right.
see, here's the thing: if they put it on Steam, they got to share the profits, right?
With Valve,
If they make their own launcher, then they have to build that shit from scratch, and then they have to compete, and they don't get that bucket of people that already have Steam. So it's a lose-lose. So what they have always been saying to everybody, and bitches don't want to fucking listen. Not you. I'm not talking about you, but people
No,
are like,
I know.
oh, you know, I want people to experience it and then come back to the console. That's what they were always trying to do, or at least the platform itself, because they're getting 100% of the profit. You know what I'm saying, on their store. You know
Right.
what I mean? On the PlayStation platform, they rule. That's their shit.
True.
That's the only reason why I say it. And I thought about this. I thought about this a lot. If they were going to make a launcher, whatever the case is, it really is just as simple as, like what Ken said. It's only contingent on if they're going to do day and date, then it would devalue it. I think people think that every game is going to go on PC, and that's not the case because it'd be a waste of money if the
True.
game barely sold on a PlayStation and you're going to try to put it on PC when it's not really. It's PC.
But what if it sells
cell
better on the
phones, and-
PC side though?
That's also true.
Say it again.
What did you
So
say,
what if
Fatal?
it sells better? So what if it sells better on the PC side though?
Yeah, I was going to follow with
Wah,
this.
wah.
The PlayStation, the Xbox, the Nintendo, cell phones, and PC, if I didn't say that before, all of those platforms, they have their demographic. Consoles, computers, and then cell phones. There's certain people that will pick that particular platform that usually doesn't cross-pollinate. Or if it does, it doesn't cross-pollinate well. There's mobile games on consoles, they suck, and no one wants to play them, regardless if you could plug in a mouse and keyboard or not. You know what I'm saying? Third party or third person games do better on consoles because people don't. It's more convenient to have a controller, even though you can plug it in. The console experience is just more convenient in general, and people are going to do that because of convenience. So if I can guarantee you, the type of games that Sony makes and the type of PC games are being purchased, they don't really cross unless they want to put their heavy hitters, their most prized possessions on the PC after it slows down.
Well, can I
Yeah,
ask you a question
and,
then?
and more than likely, whatever games that they put onto, like say their mobile platform is more than likely going to be like its own version of their IP. I don't
Right.
think, or I mean, they could do like a little bit of both. Where they have like their own version of that IP as well as maybe kind of dabbling a little bit into cloud gaming more as well. So
Well, where does so here's the thing. For those of you guys that are pretty much exclusively placed, and I don't know who that is, you know what I mean? For those of you guys like that are definitely PS5 guys, if they do day and date, just as kind of being on the Xbox side, I'd be curious to know where would that leave you? How would you, if that was the inevitable case and it was day and date on PC as well, where would that leave you? You know what I mean? How would you feel about it? What would you think of the business
See,
model?
how would I? So
I mean, I know
can
that's
I say
like
something?
Go on,
doomsday,
Ken.
but
Yeah.
I think okay, so as far as day and date, I think first of all, if their games do go day and date, I do believe that it will devalue the console itself. Because it doesn't incentivize someone to get the console, you know what I'm saying? So like
right.
if you're trying to grow the console, that portion of the ecosystem, then yes, it would devalue it. As far as, if the games do go day and date and how that would affect the community, I think to be honest with you, man, it's not. I think the people who are on the console are going to stay on the console. You know what I'm saying? And the people who are
Yeah.
on PC are going to stay on the PC. It's not really going to,
See,
I don't think it's really going to change.
So then at
So
that
you
point,
change the landscape.
so hold on. Well, then at that point, what's devaluing the console then? If people aren't going to be moving around different places and shit.
Because you don't inherently, in order for you to push the product, the console, you have to have something that is exclusive to that platform. I mean, it's not even just with gaming,
Hold
it's
on.
just in general.
But okay, but you have to ask yourself though, what is the average percentage of gamers that do buy their consoles for fucking a specific exclusive title compared to buying the console for a third party game?
well, we
Almost
already have
everyone, almost
we
everyone.
have
Have we
to-
on
ever
Xbox
actually?
has a PlayStation.
Well, I asked this question because have we ever seen that number before, percentage wise?
Yo,
I have.
it point forward from they no longer care about selling consoles. They only care about selling the software.
Would
Right?
you feel
So
as consumers and fans that the company had flat out just kind of shit in your face?
No, not necessarily.
I don't think so. Not necessarily. No.
I wouldn't even say that, man. I wouldn't even say that at all. I mean, like
Not
I said,
because
like
the console still offers like music said. It offers a really convenient experience, and that still sells. Whether
I
you like
mean,
to believe that or not, it does sell.
yeah,
I
and,
mean, at
and,
the end of
and
the,
that's the
at the end
thing.
of the, I mean,
It forever will be more fucking. It forever will
But
maintain
that
that
doesn't
aspect.
I
change.
mean, I
That
mean,
doesn't
here's the,
change the fact that it does devalue it because you got less of an incentive. So it does devalue, but not total devalue. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
so
still.
Right. No, I get that part. So the question remains is that where do you want to experience these games at? Do you want to experience it from a console perspective, or do you want to build a rig and play them at a more higher fucking fidelity?
It's
That's
Console.
not that.
totally
Wait,
on
I'm
wait,
you.
never
hold
gonna
on.
play
Wait,
on
hold on. It doesn't. I'm gonna say this. Focusing on software limits creativity in other places. We would have never, if you have played with the DualSense, you need to experience that. That's flat out. If
Okay,
they focus, if they hold
I
on,
agree with that.
hold on. If they focused on software, we would still be with that Xbox controller and batteries and all sorts of shit. So I don't want to shit on the experience of Xbox, but I will say this: we have definitive data on what happens if you do day and date. You get a console that doesn't sell that well. A number two, you get software that doesn't sell that well either.
Well, that was happening before. That's why they did it.
Halo plummeted when they start doing all sorts of crazy shit. I mean, it was already going down, but it starts to develop the type of model that what Gio was saying, and we already saw that the growth is slowing down. It's slowing down because COVID,
Yeah,
really. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? People are going out more. That whole surplus was because of COVID,
Well,
and
there's still a
everybody kind of had
surplus,
to
I'd
plan it.
argue. It was still
It is, it is,
37%,
but
to be fair.
it's slowing down. So what I would say is that when you are focusing on Game Pass, right, and you
Right.
have that, my question to you, this is what I wanted to ask you
Sure.
initially, right? What game you said you favor the Series X? So
Yes.
what games are you favoring? What games are you playing at the
Okay.
moment?
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. Like I said, go to PlayStation, love PlayStation. I imagine not many of you probably played the Halo flight.
I
It
did.
was awesome.
I could have, but I chose not to.
Yeah, well, okay, and that's fair. But I think invariably, Halo's going to be a great game. I mean, you read Forbes, you read guys like Paul Tassi, who was mostly a PC guy, used to be a PlayStation 4 guy, actually. He's pretty clear about that. I mean, he's writing articles on how Halo could launch with just a multiplayer, and it would still be fun. Now, I disagree with that because I'm stoked for the campaign. But I think, here's what I think. So I agree with you. I agree the numbers, while good, because there's no way around that, are disappointing at the same time. And I think anyone that plays on Xbox that tries to ignore the fact that Microsoft fundamentally failed to meet its corporate objectives, that's asinine. That's idiocy. You failed. Now, granted, you made progress. That's fine, but you didn't win. If you lose 50-49, yeah, you did good. You still fucking lost. And I think there's on the Xbox side, people need to acknowledge that. And I certainly think the PlayStation guys make a great point. But I think so. While I agree with you with COVID, where we're not all locked inside, in these cube prisons of our homes and whatnot, I attribute and from what I've seen, I attribute the lack of extreme exponential growth in Game Pass to where Xbox has historically been the weakest and Sony the strongest in the release of those great, awesome first party exclusive titles. The numbers came
Now,
in, and I agree with
let me
that.
let me say this, Duva or Ken.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Can you remember what you said last one where you said that they're doing it backwards? Could you
Oh
elaborate on
yeah.
that?
Oh, Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, I do believe that although the model that they have for Game Pass is solid, um, and it's appealing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the idea of what Game Pass is very, very appealing. Because you get to have your games day and date, especially if they're good. Like, if they're really good games, at least to you, obviously good is subjective, but if you find them good, then yeah, it's a very appealing service. However, I do think that they're doing things backwards in the sense that um, I believe, and we don't Microsoft kind of stops giving numbers, but I do believe that the majority of the people who do own or who are subscribed to Game Pass are more than likely the people who have supported the console. You know what I'm saying? So, and
I mean, that's true. I did. I think the Game Pass's lineup, so here's the thing. I'm going to rattle off some titles. Some of them will have release dates, like Forza in a couple weeks, Halo in a little over a month, month and a half or so. And I think a lot of the gameplay, once you get the Forzas, the Halos, once you get that Hellblade, when that Redfall, I look at the Xbox lineup and here's and I'm not indicting PlayStation because we don't. I mean, the reality is we don't concretely have a PlayStation lineup, so to speak. We got God of War, we got Horizon, both in February. There's gonna be awesome games. Anyone on Xbox that says they look bad is functionally retarded. That's a fact. But when I look at Xbox and I see things going all the way from Forza, right, all the way up Forza, which is in like a couple of weeks, to Redfall. Excuse me, Starfield.
Starfield,
yeah. Excuse me.
That's it. That's if it doesn't get delayed.
That's
No,
gonna
no,
get
no,
delayed
no,
for
It's
sure.
what I'm saying-
delayed. It's more likely going to get fucking
It's
delayed.
not gonna make 20. They've put it at the end of the year for a reason. They've never made a deadline before, and they're still
Yes,
fucking.
they have.
He's making
Yes,
a
they
point.
have.
No.
Are
He's
we
making.
going to completely forget about how Fallout 4 fucking launched? They announced it the same year it was released.
So, well,
Yeah,
but
but
they
here's the thing,
not a
he's
year and a
making a
half
point.
out.
He's making-
That's why
he's-
they wait longer until Microsoft out. They stopped giving large windows out because they'd never make it. They'd wait till they were closer.
Let's assume
That's just. I said the same thing about God of War. I was like, that shit ain't making it.
Well, yeah, that's why we haven't seen any release dates or release year windows yet for shit.
Hey guys, let him finish his thought, man.
They're giving best case scenario, which fucking never happens.
Well, I would argue it's not best case scenario because it's the only given one at this point, right? So let's assume, and across the board, let's assume that both obviously God of War and Horizon are also going to come out in February. Let's assume that Starfield's coming out in November, all of that. So I look at Xbox, and this is what makes it, this is kind of what, I wouldn't say defected, but this is why I shifted to where I play the most and why I'm much happier on Xbox than I am on PlayStation. A lot of it is that it is a consumer-friendly console. It is. But here's where I think Game Pass. Here's where I think Game Pass is really, with these games, is really going to change the landscape of the industry. So when you get these Halos, these Forzas, these Redfalls, I mean, we're looking at Indiana Jones, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom. We're looking at everything Arcane's going to make. Ironically, except for Deathloop, which is my game of the year, by the way. But I look at all these games, and if you take them, let's hypothetically say, let's equate them roughly to a PlayStation price point, right? $70. I think personally, I'm not hurting for money, but I think that's extortionate. I don't think anyone should pay $70. That's just me. Okay.
I think microtransactions.
Wait, whoa. Pause on that for a second. Hold on.
Sure.
So you think that it's wrong for consumers to spend $70 on a video game now?
No, I don't think it's wrong. I think so. That's what I said. Subjectively, it's my opinion. I wouldn't do it. What I'm saying is, if you are a consumer and you subjectively feel it's worth $70, by all means, brother, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, that's
No. I understand that. But can I ask you a question, real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
When did you start gaming?
So I was born in 91. I started gaming in, I don't know, maybe 96, 97. I was a little kid.
Okay, so you were around during the PS1 era then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, but I get it from. Well, there's a good reason why I asked, because during the PS1 and shit like that, dude, like prices were actually cheaper for games because that's when they went to discs and shit. But like when I came up with gaming, dude, man, like even Genesis, like the cartridges side, man, of the whole entire Bitwars fucking saga. Those games
Nintendo's got up to 80.
were way more higher priced than what we're paying today.
I agree.
I guess that's why it doesn't bother me. I guess that's
why it would bother me, because I would say I look at it like an automobile. Yes, games were higher priced. The average, they shouldn't be now. The average lifespan was once 35. It's now almost 90. I'm one of those guys that believes if you are innovating every generation, you should not only innovate on the technological side, on the corporate side, the financial side, you should effectively be more consumer friendly. That's just my opinion.
Now this is where I come in, because this is my field. The games that were on Super NES, one artist could make the entire fucking world because it was so simplistic, right?
Now
we moved to 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things were so simplistic. I mean, Mario was 500 triangles. That's what he was made out of. You know what I'm saying? And the environment was only made out of a couple of thousand triangles. And you didn't need to render grass blades or bricks or pores or Peach Fuzz or any of those things.
Yeah,
Every
production cost
generation,
goes up.
I know, but it goes up because more people have to be called to work on it. They
Sure.
have to get paid to some degree. You can't keep it at the same price and expect quality. There's a give and take. You
I
need more people. We used to be able to make games on PlayStation 1 with about 8 to 15 people. And instead
See,
with these
now you're
Final
talking about
Fantasies,
budgets.
right, is it has to be spoken.
You say
Final Fantasy.
what Hobgoblin wants is for the company to take the hit and possibly go under. Some companies can do that, man, but sometimes you just gotta,
That's exactly what it is.
I
Some
don't
companies
want
can
it.
take the hit like that.
Yeah.
Some companies will be able
Exactly.
to make bigger budget games and take a hit for it. Microsoft's definitely going to be doing that. For sure they
No,
will.
Microsoft.
They can do it. They can do it for
No
a
company is going
limited
to.
amount of time.
Hold
And
on,
Yeah,
then
guys.
because
One at a time.
it's
One
not
at a time.
unlimited. It's not unlimited, right?
Who's saying anything about unlimited?
No, I'm just saying it's not unlimited. They could do it, but you'd be an idiot, and no company is going to just waste money, regardless of how much money they make. You look
But
at
if it's a
Apple.
game that they want to make, if the developer wants to make that, if they have the freedom to want to make it, and they actually can get the budget to make it,
But we're not talking
what's
about what
stopping
they
them,
feel.
though?
We're not talking about what they're feeling like. I'm talking about if they're going to do it or not. There is no company on earth that is just flinging money out the fucking window. None of them.
If that was
No,
the
no,
case,
I know that, but I'm talking about like if a developer that Microsoft owns or Sony owns that wants to. I'm sure there's obviously there's obviously going to be a cap. I mean, that like no one's going to pay fucking $1 billion to make a video game. That's fucking retarded.
343.
But budgets are going up, though. That's the thing. Budgets are going up, so they have to find some way to. So by rating more than justifiable, unless you want games to be what $50-$60, then they end up turning out to be fucking what cold half-cut games. We've already had that already.
No, okay.
Y'all fucking still gave in and still bought that shit.
If that was I fully agree. Here's why I disagree. No, I fully understand what you're saying. The difference is this: I think people are automatically and I don't even, and the data, I think the raw data would show this isn't the case. People are automatically assuming that profitability and consumer friendliness are two mutually exclusive concepts. The data shows that's not the case. I understand where the concern comes from, but Game Pass is so far that is a winning bet. Well, and not just Game Pass, Netflix, subscription services.
How about Hobgoblin? If you can survive it, it's a winning bet.
Well,
Not all companies can survive that.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So can I ask who? Wait. Can I ask? Who just said that?
Never mind.
Tony.
I just wanted to say this real quick. Sony's even the higher budget single player games. Sony's one of the few games that you might sell me a game for $60 like Assassin's Creed, but it's like, okay, we're gonna make you level up slow as fuck, or you're gonna have to pay to get experience, or we're gonna make you do a lot of dumb shit to get fucking resources. So waste. It's all of them. And Sony, I pay the money and I fucking play the game and I get everything in the game, like how I want to fucking play.
No, but
Who said that?
Who's talking right now? Other than
Me.
Jeremy.
It's me, bro. K got that whole team put.
Okay. I just want to know whose name it was. I'm sorry. That's all I'm gonna do.
I'm just saying, it's the company that we're talking about here, Microsoft, can throw money away until it makes it back, and they can do that for however long they want. Sony can't do that. They'll go under before they make money back.
True. So Sony's market cap right now is $84 billion and change. Microsoft's market cap is $2 trillion. So you look at a company, and that's just because Microsoft's a juggernaut. So that's almost where I can kind of sympathize with the PlayStation guys, because the playing field is not level. You have a company worth less than $100 billion competing with a company who has a market cap higher than the GDP of fucking Italy. That's a first world Western industrialized country. So I understand where the fear comes in, and I do. And I am in no way want a monopoly. But my argument would be with the $70, and I totally accept the production cost increase. You're absolutely right. These aren't 8-bit, 64-bit games anymore. It's not fucking Pong. You need to ray trace. I get it. The problem is this, though. I understand paying $70 to buy that game on the PS5, but I should say I would. This is just me personally. Obviously, I'm not speaking for everybody. We're all different, but I don't understand $70 in 2021, 2022 when I can get my game for free on Xbox. So
what if the game that you want doesn't go to Game Pass? Are you still just going to wait
then
for
I
it to
buy
go to
it.
Game Pass?
No, yeah, then I buy it. No, I'm not one of those guys.
Okay,
it's not
okay.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's all I
I'm
wanted to
not
know.
against. I am not against buying games. I think I should have clarified. I'm referring to specific first-party titles. I think I didn't leave it there. I
Hobgoblin,
should have.
that's just traditional business, man. Now the
But
fact
traditional
that
business
Microsoft
is being
can
rendered
afford,
obsolete.
huh?
But I would argue that traditional business is being rendered obsolete.
Nah,
And that's the nature of
I
business.
I think it's kind of early to say that, because although
Yeah.
I do believe that Game Pass has been successful from when it first started. You know, it's still, you could like, they just didn't meet their, like, now recently they just didn't meet their quarterly what you call it
Yeah, it was supposed to be
mark.
48.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
try to get 25 million, close to 30, but they didn't end up getting that. So they went from 18 to maybe like 20. That's
No,
about
See,
it.
this is what
It's
I
a
like.
small increase.
We
Well, so
can't
here's the-
expect.
it's a little over 24.
Go ahead,
It's a
bro.
little over
well, here's
24.
here's the thing. I mean, like, although it's they've made growth, you know, right now the growth is sort of at the moment
Stagnant.
stagnated or slowing down. You know, so it's kind of hard to say, like, oh, you know, the old model is completely obsolete. You know, when Game Pass, I believe Game Pass has not fully realized its full potential. You know,
It hasn't. I can
Okay.
I can tell you one thing right now for sure, Ken. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I guarantee you it has not. Once Microsoft gets the flow of first-party games on there, and like the third-party shit will eventually come. Like, not day and date, because I mean, again, like people say Outriders was AAA.
Well,
No, the fuck it wasn't. No, the fuck it wasn't.
Stalker stuff, that's day and date.
See,
Which
but
one?
here's the thing. Stalker. So here's the thing, right? All of this, and I kind of figured this was going to be a thing. This is all a hope and a prayer and a wish that they're gonna come up with games. And they bought all these big studios and stuff like that. And you're saying that I can get my games, but other than Halo, which is a shell of itself, what games are you?
How the fuck is Halo a shell of itself when it's Halo?
Well,
Because it's releasing. Because hold on, wait a minute. You can't keep talking. You can't keep talking unless you let me finish. It did not come with a single player.
It does.
So it does come with a single player. What the fuck are you talking about?
A whole full-on single player?
Yeah, it's launching with a campaign.
It's launching with a campaign.
So you told me is it going to come with? Okay, is it going to come with piece? Is it going to come piece by piece?
No,
all together.
Motherfucker, man, go back and read what 343 has said
let's all
back in December.
Hey, let's all come
Man,
on.
this is what I'm talking about. When motherfuckers don't read shit.
This is how we do things, man. We're not serious.
It's so it is going to launch. I think maybe what you're thinking of, and I agree with you, it is highly disappointing, is that it's going to take. They say rough. It's not. I think it's a failure on Microsoft's part. I think it's a failure on 343's part. I think it's a fuck up. That's just me. I'm a little hash on it because I expect it would launch. It's going to take about 6 weeks for co-op campaign to drop. It is releasing.
Yeah, that's the only bummer about that shit.
Yeah, but to say that's not a fuck up is still wrong. And I agree this. Now it's only 6 weeks. Granted, you know, shit happens. I would hope that's not emblematic of a greater rush. I don't think it is. I played the flights. That game, by any metric, is fucking amazing. At least the multiplayer. I can only attest to the multiplayer. Halo will launch with a full campaign, though, my brother. It's going to launch with full multiplayer, everything. It's just, I think maybe because I know you read. When you were reading, you might have thought you saw no co-op campaign. Might have thought that's an honest mistake. That shit happens. So that's glazing over a word. We don't need to get up in arms about that. Honest mistakes happen. I will say though that where Xbox is succeeding is every single one of those studios, and about half a dozen of them are putting out two. Every one of them are putting out at least one game, and half a dozen are putting out two. Machine Games announced today that Wolfenstein 3 is in development, and then they got Indiana Jones. You look at Arcane,
That's what I don't like, because they're trying to make a lot of content instead of concentrating on one good thing.
No, I think more content.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Right? Look at Obsidian. They got 5 games in development right now. 5 fucking games in development. One that's already out. One that they just finished DLC for and now working on the fucking sequel, and that being Outer Worlds 2. Then you also have some other early project that like a little tiny team of like 3 people are doing. Then you have Avowed, and then you also got another fucking update or the team that make Pillars of Eternity fucking working side by side with Avowed on a different
Right,
game.
because Avowed is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe.
Bingo.
No,
So you guys think that since Game Pass is a thing, PlayStation has to do the same thing?
No,
no.
no.
Okay, so
I think-
that's over with.
No.
I
So
think if
PlayStation can
PlayStation
just
wants
keep
to
doing
No,
what
because
they're
they have
doing.
their own thing already.
I will,
Okay,
Keep
hold on.
selling games.
Josh,
I will say this, man. You know, because like as far as what we know is coming with Xbox, you know, a lot of people are automatically assuming that whatever the games that we know that are coming, that they're going to be good. Now, I know that good is subjective, but when you talk about how Game Pass is now, listen to me. If you're talking about how Game Pass is supposed to grow, right? You have to have content that will appeal to people, that will make Game Pass appealing for them to come and, you know, to subscribe to the service.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
and in that sense, in that conversation, it's still up in the air. You know,
Yo,
Yeah, I think
T,
so,
I
too.
got
but what about those that don't pay in for the service that want to
because
own the
look,
game?
this
Then
service.
they
Getting all
like
that.
I said,
Hold on, but let Kate talk. Let Kate talk.
no, I mean it's anecdotal because I know you, Fatal. I know that you like to play a lot of indie games and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying anything against that. However, when you have the conversation about whether or not Microsoft is doing what they need to do in order to make Game Pass grow, then you need to have content that will bring people into the service, that will be appealing enough to, you know, to bring people into the service, you know, which it might not be what you like, but you know what I'm saying, it has to appeal to more people. So it's like
What they're gonna do, and they're kind of doing this now with Halo, man, is that they're gonna give people the incentive to be an Ultimate member because of the perk system. If
Well,
they
that's what I
put
am.
here's my problem with that, man, because Microsoft, with all of the things that they have, all of the features, all of the fucking quests that you could do on the Xbox and all this bullshit, right?
right,
They still like, for example, like just now, they did not meet their quarterly, you know, expectation for the service, meaning
right.
that whatever Xbox and Game Pass is offering right now is not appealing enough for people to want to jump into it. You know what I'm saying?
No. I get that, but I think you're thinking of something else. I'm talking about the perk system, not fucking the quest system. The quest system is just for
It's
points.
all part of it. It's all part
Hold
of
on,
it.
let Kate talk.
But perks does not
Kate,
have nothing to do with quests.
let Kate talk though.
Now I'm talking about like the whole system, the whole ecosystem in general.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
well, but I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about just the perk system itself.
Yeah,
So-
I think that the fact, you know, that we got the promise of game. I know what T is saying. The promise can't be really foolproof right now, you know, based on the track record and the history. But even regardless of that, that's almost irrelevant because as long as they got the content in there, it's gonna drive subscribers to sign up. Not maybe not a huge amount, maybe not us, maybe not, you know, it'll take time, you know, but I feel like once the flow starts, yeah, I think it will increase if it starts right, and then the quality consistently is trash. That will determine the future after that.
And I think you're right. I think that's the litmus test. I think is whether Game Pass, being the model it can deliver the quality of games that it promises. Now, what I look at the studios and I look at Microsoft's financial muscle, and I say I'm irrevocably convinced that they will. Are they all going to be fucking 90+ games? No. Hell,
My
something
thing
to say
about
after there,
PlayStation is
Josh.
that PlayStation is set. They set the bar, you know, where it is, right? And that's only going to go higher because of the new generation, new hardware, new technique they're using. So, and the games always, you know, they always make profit. So, wow.
Are you echoing?
It was me. I'm my bad.
But like, yeah. So I don't. PC is for both companies, but I don't see PlayStation being forced to do a Game Pass. In fact, PlayStation has been dropping day and day games on PS Plus. So if they can keep that up somehow here and there, just drop a game in there, and you know that'll keep fans on their good side. I mean, I don't have a problem with nothing PlayStation is doing right now.
I have a question.
Hold on a second. Gaming is your friend. He looks like he wants to say something, man. He's been holding his hand up for a little bit. Go ahead, man.
No, people are saying PlayStation have to make their own Game Pass. Some people relate that to Game Pass Ultimate or whatever. They could easily just do like PlayStation Ultimate. You get PS Now, and PS Plus as well, like what Xbox is doing. PS Now has a lot of good. You get a lot of exclusives as well. If I'm being honest, I do a trick to get Game Pass because, in my opinion, it's still not worth it because they need to drop good quality games like the exclusive PlayStation has. But even now, looking at it, okay, you have your Yakuza series, you have your Bethesda games, which is making Game Pass quality. If there was no Bethesda, Game Pass would have a few games that would interest a wider audience. Like you have your EA stuff, but EA stuff, there's maybe a few diamonds in the rough, but that's it. Xbox needs to focus on quality. Yeah, we can hype up Starfield and everything, but you're just grifting if you're just praising Starfield without seeing anything.
I mean, I get where he's coming from, because he's kind of making like an educated sort of guess or assumption based off of the history, which that's a great thing. I mean, it's a good indicator, you know what I'm saying? However, like I said, it's still kind of like up in the air, whether or not the games that will come out will kind of live up to the step up to the plate.
Well, that's where my question comes into play, because I'm really confuzzled by this, because it seems like we're almost going into a certain pattern of the same logical shit that we did post or pre-Game Pass, When the console launched, it was all about the 900 people shit, right? And how every game that Microsoft released, from fucking Dead Rising 3, Rise son of bullshit is the trashiest fucking game I ever played for a launch title. I want to say that for the record. But that game got fucking praised, and then everything the fuck else was trash. And then when Game Pass came out, miraculously now fucking no game that they release is going to be remotely good, remotely seeably as an actual redeemable product at this point. So we're literally going in circles. We're going in fucking circles.
You got Psychonauts. You got
Psychonauts is multiplat.
Yeah, but it's a Xbox game. It's got rated good, right?
It's not an Xbox game. It's a multiplat game. You do realize, man, that game was funded, right?
He's talking about studios. He's talking.
I know he's talking. I know he's talking about the studio, but I'm talking about the game in general. It's a
Right,
multiplat.
I said it was an Xbox game. That's Xbox Game Studios. You know what I mean?
Is it capable of making some?
Guys, one at a time. You guys are talking.
But what I'm saying
they got other games too, that.
I get that. Me personally, I'm not worried about the quality of these games because I fuck with a lot of these developers that Microsoft picked up, and I played a lot of their shit. So I'm not worried about their games being garbage, even though they are still going to be garbage to the vast majority, because the vast majority of gamers are not going to have interest in any one of these fucking games. Period. Because if you guys did, you would be supporting those types of games like your already preferred platform of fucking choice. See, the problem is, and this is the biggest issue that Microsoft has going for it, is that the vast majority of these games are catering to the fucking PC side of the spectrum. How many people here actually played anything from Obsidian outside of fucking Fallout New Vegas?
Outer Wilds.
Before Outer Wilds, any other game outside of fucking New Vegas?
I think the point is this: you are moving the goalposts. So if you'll let me. So here's the thing: I agree with you on what you're saying about these studios, right? Because obviously the publisher. Let's just take Bethesda, right? That seems to be the elephant in the room. So you take Arcane, right? I played it on PS5, right? I thought so far. Deathloop's my game of the year. I love Deathloop. That is a Microsoft game. It is. That's Microsoft Game Studios. And I think that's what the other gentleman was talking about, Psychonauts. And he was right. Double Fine is the studio that made that. That is a Microsoft's Game Studio. So he was, as I see it, I can see how you saw it. But when he said it was a Microsoft game, he was absolutely correct. When I look at the Game Pass games, this is what I'm seeing. You got a studio like Arcane. Okay, we're looking at Dishonored. We're looking at Prey. We're looking at Deathloop, which was fantastic. That is the studio that knows what. Now, granted, I obviously cannot say to what degree Microsoft's corporate bureaucracy will interfere and fuck around with the management. It seems like they're not, though. That seems vocally. Phil Spencer said we're leaving.
I think they learned a lesson.
Phil Spencer said he's leaving. I think so too, and I think I look at these studios, Machine Games, for example, that's doing Not only Wolfenstein, but now Indiana Jones. The Wolfenstein reboots were great. So you look at Machine Games, you look at Arcane Games, those are two great studios, right? You look at Bethesda. Fallout has had its iterations that were less than stellar, 76. In some respects, even 4.
Fallout 3.
I see.
Garbage.
It is a studio that
Trash, dude.
routinely turns out good games. You look at Obsidian, right? Avowed is already being praised by people.
Oh, I know it is, but I already knew that it was going to be.
And then look at the Outer World. That. So Obsidian knows what it's doing. Arcane knows what it's doing. Machine Games knows what it's doing. Bethesda knows what it's doing. Double Fine clearly knows what it's doing by now. I would say that obviously, Forza, Playground Games knows what it's doing with Forza. They're also working on Fable. So you've got these studios that are not only, they have a very consistent history of turning out great games, but now they have the financial backing of Microsoft. Playground Games is turning out 2 games.
Yes.
Machine
Forza
Games
and
is doing
Fable.
2 games. Arcane's
Yes.
doing 2 games. So these are studios that routinely make excellent games, and with Microsoft's backing, now have the financial muscle for expansion and things of that nature.
You're
to
right.
pick up new. And so I think when you say, and I'm not trying to slant you personally, but when you say that all these games are going to be shit, when every single one of these studios.
No.
Well,
You
said the vast
misunderstood what I
majority.
said.
Excuse me, I
No.
misquoted you. You said the
No.
vast
I'm not talking about from my perspective. I'm talking about in general the way the community as a whole treats every fucking game that comes out from Microsoft's first-party studio offerings.
But I disagree. I don't think that's how anybody
I'm agreeing with you on that.
I think
I
it's
agree
kind
with
of
you
a
on
stigma.
that.
I think that that's how the community treats Microsoft's first-party games. So what I'm
But the
saying is
stigma
this:
can hurt, though.
What? Have you not been paying attention to how this community treats those fucking games?
when
We
you say
trash
this-
on them in every
when-
chance they
when-
get.
when you say this community, are you referring to the
I'm talking about
PlayStation?
social media as a whole. There we go.
Well, okay,
To
but
clear
that's
that
fine.
up.
But you can get one guy with 10,000 subscribers. Like I had a pretty decent conversation 2 days ago with the Crap Gamer. Him and I kind of went back and forth a bit. Totally cordial. Obviously, we disagree on a couple of things, and he had a bit of a controversy, as some people might remember, having been on Twitter. I don't think the gaming. I think you get a dedicated core of sycophantic corporate loyalists, people that thinks that Bill Gates is, or that think that Phil Spencer is the second incarnation of Christ, or that PlayStation is the holy fucking grail. You're always going to have them because gamers are like any other community. There exists a spectrum, and within that spectrum exists a very select category known as fucking retards. Now, fucking retards, right? And they're going to exist in any community, and that's so. When I agree,
You know what? I want to say I want 100% back this because I have an alt account on Twitter because I'm a wrestling fan, and from my experience, this is 100% something I will 100% back you on this multiple times. In my wrestling community, there is a booker known as Tony Khan, and this community known as like AEW fans, All Elite Wrestling, they look at him like he is the Christ, the Son of God. They really do. And they will look up to him, and every time he books a match, they think it's 5-star, 10-star rating kind of matches. Even the dirt sheets will say it's better than what WWE produces, and it's like, I'm tired of it. I just want to watch, And just like you said, bunch of retards. That's what I have in my community as well. So I 100% agree.
And they're always the most vocal. We can agree on that, right?
They are 100%.
Stupidity speaks the loudest, and it doesn't have a lot of decorum.
So why do we behave that way then as gamers then?
Oh,
So let me ask you a question then. So you think that going forward, Microsoft Studios are going to make the great games based on their history, right? What about the games that a lot of them have released more recently? You could talk about. Yeah, like.
Are we going there, Ken? We're going there, right, buddy? Oh boy,
we're gonna go there.
Are we talking
I
about
see you, buddy. I see you.
That creative?
Yeah, well, I'm saying, right? When you have studios like I forgot which one made the fucking Fallout. The Fallout 76, I forgot which one of ZeniMax.
ZeniMax is the publisher. That was Bethesda.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
ZeniMax made the game. Bethesda
are they
published
also
it.
the studio?
Yeah, ZeniMax is the same people that made Elder Scrolls Online. Did the exact same thing with Fallout 70 shit.
So my question is, right, because you have like whatever, ZeniMax Studios Online, when they made Fallout 76, which obviously was critically unacclaimed.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying?
It was booty cheese.
Yeah, you
Same
have.
thing with Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online. You have machine games with Wolfenstein, Wolfenstein Youngblood. You have
Right.
the Halo franchise, which I know you believe. I think Halo is fine, whatever. But I'm just going off of what you're saying. You think Halo was great in its own right, right?
I
Which
think the last two iterations were very subpar.
okay,
Very
so
subpar. 4 and 5,
okay,
I would say, were not worthy of the title.
okay,
Outside of
so we'll go with that. We'll go with that. You believe the last two were subpar,
yeah,
right?
disappointed me
And
greatly.
Ninja Theory with
Hellblade.
Bleeding Edge, I'll say,
Oh,
because
okay.
that was the latest one that came out, right?
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah,
fully
that
believe that Hellblade. I fully believe Hellblade 2 is going to be a good game, right? I'm setting this all up to ask you a question.
Sure.
All of these games that came out from Microsoft's first-party studios, does it not raise any sort of concern that some of their games might follow a similar trend in terms of quality?
So
Nope.
so with concern, no, because I already knew some of them were going to be shit. I think all games, it doesn't matter who the developer is, who the publisher is. I think it's no one important. My lovely wife. I think no, I wasn't concerned because I took. No, I don't. And it comes on Game Pass is going to be fantastic or stellar. I think there's going to be a few that won't even hit the 70 mark. Not that I put too much stock in it, but I think I think when you are looking at these games that are coming from Arcane and Obsidian and Machine Games and Playground, and these are all studios making multiple games. I think those are going to be good because they have a track record of making excellent games. Now, obviously, is a faux pas going to slip in? Is there going to be? Do I think that we're going to have a cyberpunk? It's possible. I doubt it. But it was never a concern because I took it as
Wasteland is Cyberpunk.
I took it as inevitable that games were going to be fuck ups
So
on both sides.
So
Like,
this
I
is
would be the first to be like,
all about numbers. Then this is like they have so many studios, they could just keep throwing shit at the wall, and something's
could.
going to stick eventually.
Yeah, they could if they want to. They could if they wanted to. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got it, flaunt it. I think
But
if Sony could do that, they would. I think Sony is not in the financial position. They certainly don't have the infrastructure. No, they would. Any company would. That's basically.
I don't think they're going to. That's inefficient.
Well,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
Inefficiency is irrelevant as long as it meets the concept of fiduciary responsibility, which is namely that every company, and this is actually a law. This is actually the only real law that any publicly traded corporation has to meet. It's called fiduciary responsibility. What that means is you have to maximize profits for your shareholders at any and every cost. Inevitably, that entails throwing bad shit with good because you have to put shit out. Sony would absolutely do it. The only difference is Microsoft can do it. This is all postulated on the idea that Microsoft is going to throw out.
Sony has already done it, though.
I think Sony's historically been a lot better at not doing it. I think.
Well, yeah. Microsoft's definitely more prudent to the point for sure.
Because
absolutely.
they can.
Yeah.
I think Sony. Yeah, Sony's done it because anyone would do it. That's the nature of being a publicly traded corporation like Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo or what have you. So games are going to be shit. The idea that just because we have a new generation, we have new capabilities, we have new ways to unify ecosystems and cross-play and do things, that's all fine. That's great. But, there are going to be fuck-ups. There's going to be fuck-ups on every side. Yeah. So, and I think Microsoft will have more fuck-ups, but only because Microsoft will have more.
Because they can come around and actually fix that problem. Now, Ken, I have to ask you though, just real quick, because I want to what you just said, Ken. See, now you're picking sides, sir. I like how you use Bleeding Ass, right? Which I agree. I capped for that game for a little while because I love the idea behind it. It was just in the wrong genre. But yet you don't say shit about fucking Destruction All-Star. How dare you, sir?
Well, I did. No, because I actually went on record saying that I think Destruction All-Stars was not a good game.
I've eventually openly admitted that I was wrong about my fucking whatever you want to call it. And again, I like Bleeding Edge. It's just it's in the wrong genre.
Yeah,
like that's the problem that killed that game.
This is my concern. This is my concern because I look. And I know you mentioned earlier Hobgoblin. You don't really know who plays PlayStation and Xbox. I have played Xbox for a long time, and I actually like the platform. I think it's a cool platform. I'm subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate or whatever.
Sure.
I usually play all of the games that go in there, all of the exclusive games. I mean, you could check my backlog.
No,
I'll give you my
I'm not one
yeah,
of them.
yeah. My concern is that some of the studios that did make some of these really great games I think it raises a concern that they might be trending in a direction that might be conducive of less quality, in terms of their games. So that's what I think. I mean, I can't say for sure. I'm not going to definitively say that, yes, I think whatever Machine Games comes out with is going to be trash or
Right.
whatever. I think to myself, I see a concern, because like I said, a lot of the games that have come out more recently have been, in my personal opinion, obviously this is anecdotal, a lot of this is anecdotal, have been less quality in comparison to the games that they have come out with before. So,
Such as
what I mentioned. Like I played every single Ninja Theory game, and I love them. I loved.
Did you play Chaos? Did you play Kung Fu Chaos?
No, sorry, I didn't play that one. I didn't play that one, but I did play.
I thought, sir.
No, I didn't play that one. But I did play. Obviously, Heavenly Sword. I played Enslaved.
Sure.
I played. I played DMC.
Enslaved was fucking underrated, bro. Fucking underrated.
Yeah, like I played a lot. I played all of those games. You know what I'm saying? And when I played Bleeding Edge, I thought it was absolutely garbage.
So
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. You're giving voice to a very real fear that I think a lot of Xbox guys won't admit, and I think it's definitely a valid fear. I agree with you. No, the only thing that makes me dissent slightly, or not even slightly, I guess majorly, I just don't want to sound like a prick, is that Xbox's entire model, the very foundation of their business model is dependent and preponderant upon the success of these games. And you look at things like 343. 343 got $500 million. I don't care if that game's free. I'm going to get it, but even if I get it for free, you're telling me you put $500 million fucking in that game's ass? Fuck, there's no excuse for that. So
I'm going to make the argument
be
that
spending an average of fucking $500 million by the time they're done with their 10-year life cycle with that fucking game.
Look, I know what I'm probably going to say is controversial for you, but I personally believe that 343 is an incompetent studio. I do, because
right in the fucking heart, bro.
I do.
That'll be dependent upon the campaign. I think I think in multiplayer that's definitely not the case, and we've seen that. I think if the because if the campaign is borderline open world, it's like a Metro type build, with hubs and there are side quests and that's a dangerous new direction for Halo, but it's a bold new direction, So we'll see where that goes. I think if the campaign is ass, I think incompetence is a strong word, because multiplayer is nailed. There's no way around that. That's the best multiplayer I've ever played.
So and again, that is subjective. But we've kind of blown way far off topic. But
that's my fault.
No, it's not even you. It was. I brought it up. So there's a can of worms. I wanted to talk to you. If you talk about incompetence, right? Let's talk about since you that was a pretty awesome word. I like that word. But since you brought that up, let's talk about From Software and how they get a pass on their graphics.
In what way? In what way?
Ring.
Elden
bothered by this?
Hey, you know what? Hey, Josh. I'm sorry, dude. Before you do that, gaming is your friend. I know you had your hand up for a while, man. What do you got to say, man?
Yeah, I can't see, so I didn't see him.
No. In regards to Halo and FIFA 3, I think Halo 4 they did a good job with the campaign, but they fucked up the multiplayer. Then Halo 5 they wanted to basically get rid of Chief and make Locke the main guy, which no one liked.
Yeah,
but they made a solid multiplayer. The multiplayer on Infinite looks great, but we need to see more of the campaign.
Agreed.
That's the issue.
I think so too.
All right, go.
Do you guys see Halo's campaign as a litmus test for Game Pass, out of curiosity? Like this Halo.
No.
See, I don't either, but because I'm intrinsically a believer in them all. But I think that the gentleman makes a point with the Halo, with the critique of Halo. They seem that when they take one step forward, they also take a step. And I agree with him entirely. That seems to be a trend. So, but those are Halo games by Bungie. So when people are saying that, talking about the incompetence of 343, well, if you put in a frame of reference, if you compare that to what Bungie's turned out, you know what I mean? It's not, and Bungie's turned out great. Halo's even so, and some subpar. I'll be the first to admit it. I still think based on what we've seen and what we've played, if any of you played, I imagine most of you on PlayStation, you probably didn't. But it's amazing. There's no way around that multiplayer experience is absolutely amazing. It's hilarious. It's as hilarious as it is lethal. I've never played a and I'm not just saying that because I like Halo. I'm not trying to fanboy Cap for it. It earned its accolades. It really is that good. For $500 million, it fucking well better have. But
look, I know Josh he's trying to move on to the next topic. So I mean, if you want to, man, we could actually continue this conversation about this particular topic. Like in the Discord, if you want to jump in there. But I am gonna toss it back over to Josh so he can.
Oh no, you're good. I wasn't even looking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. It's no problem. Yeah, the Discord, we keep it active and we keep the conversation going regarding this because I'm in the opposite direction of Hobgoblin. I'm strongly in opposite direction. I have my proof, and we can talk about it from there.
Yeah, that'd be a great conversation. Yeah, no.
I think we could definitely have this conversation in the Discord if you want to jump in, man, for sure. I mean, I think it's a great conversation.
It's a pretty simple Discord. We don't go any crazy.
I just started out the conversation for you there, Josh, in the Discord. You're welcome, brother.
But go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, Josh.
So there's a lot of captors from software. Ken being one of them. That will look at the game and all of a sudden for this particular game, it doesn't matter with this game. It's like it's going to be fun. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
I don't say that. I do not. No, you're being a little facetious.
I didn't say that you said it. I just said that you give them a pass. That's a different story. So, looking at Elden Ring, and by the way, I am going to get that game. Definitely. But I just can't help when you get games that render peach fuzz on cheeks. You know what I mean? You have this game that looks like a PS3 game, and no one seems to bat an eye about it. To me, that's just very interesting.
I thought I was the only one that had that opinion. I'm glad to hear it else.
I as someone who has played a lot of Dark Souls games, I played Sekiro. I beat Sekiro. It was amazing in my opinion. All Dark Souls. I have pretty high expectations because this is from Software, which is a big company name. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that's so cool. My biggest fear is that they make the same mistakes they do with Dark Souls 2.
What mistakes were those? Because some people may not know.
Yeah, what mistakes were those?
So the problem with Dark Souls 2 is the layout. For example, I hope the maps are good because Dark Souls 2 has one of the worst maps, worst boss fights, and durability-wise, my God, the durability in that game was horrible. You couldn't even access fire from each other. The only way you could access from fire was, it was a rare chance, but most of the time it was after a boss fight. And so my biggest fear is that they go down a similar path with Dark Souls 2. I hope that they go in more of a Dark Souls 3 approach, and they just get right into it. But I hope they learn from their mistakes and make the durability in the game better. Or just get rid of it. I mean, Sekiro didn't have any durability at all. You were a shinobi. Your whole point wasn't to have durability or, have all these stats. You were just supposed to make your opponent break their guard so you could kill them. But, I mean, from the trailer, the dude grabs a ring of some sort, kind of like Lord of the Rings. So I'm wondering if this isn't more of a Lord of the Rings approach You
I
know,
think it is. I think it is. I
yeah, I
do.
think it is. And I'm pretty excited because I love Dark Souls. Dark Souls is one of my most favorite games, and I cannot wait to see what they do with it.
Now, what about Bloodborne? How did you feel about that?
Oh my god! As a horror fan, loved Bloodborne. That was heaven for me. I loved
And
it. There was
to me, I think that Bloodborne is probably one of the best looking From Software games that they've ever made,
I
which
think
is
it makes
interesting.
I think it's the best Dark Souls game ever. In my
I mean, graphically, like in terms of gameplay, that's subjective. I get it. And they're pretty similar in terms of their flow, but just the aesthetics of the game and just the graphic fidelity, they knocked it out of the fucking park, man. If they could have easily made that into a horror game, easily.
it got Game of the Year, right? Bloodborne.
Hey, well, it
Yeah.
was my game of the year. If it didn't,
I would have
no, The
loved
Witcher.
that.
I think the Witcher did. If didn't the Witcher? Was it the Witcher?
I mean, yeah, you compare those two. I mean, The Witcher's
But
got hours upon hours of content. You can't deny that. But
but
I don't know. The Bloodborne, in my opinion, may be the greatest Dark Souls game ever. But we'll see what they do with Elden Ring.
but let me ask you guys a question, and you guys could just jump in at any point in time. I mean, so most people, and I get it. It's an open world. It's the first. It's their first open world game. You know what I'm saying? They're not a
Yeah.
large
Let me say
studio.
something about what
Yeah,
you said earlier. The graphics.
the
So
graphics.
my first Souls game was Demon Souls PS5. That's my
Oh
first one.
Jesus Christ!
Listen, hold on.
Oh God.
Listen. The first one that I finished, I should say, because I did play Bloodborne, but I never got to finish it. But I don't love that game because of the graphics. I know it's beautiful. I don't love it because of the graphics. You know what I'm saying? So that should pretty much tell you why people love those games. It's not. It was never graphics. It's just.
So,
But if it's
but how
beautiful,
come?
it's an extra. It's an extra if it's beautiful. But that's not what they go there for. And this is
But
coming from.
how come some people can get away with not having good, like, for instance, there's games where, like, let me ask you guys a question, and I'm going to
And I,
exclude The Last of Us
real quick,
or one,
I
two.
am a huge Horizon and God of War and highly realistic looking games like Last of Us. I'm a PlayStation guy, so you know I love those games.
Okay, so would you feel the same way if the first Last of Us looked like a PS2 game?
The first Last of Us for its time was beautiful. If you go back now, it doesn't stack up next to Last of Us 2. And that's another game that, yeah, it was beautiful, but that's not the reason why I loved it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just an attribute. It's another stat that you can throw on that game because it is gorgeous. But it's not the sole purpose or the sole reason why it is a great game. I mean, that's just I get me. That's how I look at it, I guess. So some
Yeah,
games,
see, that's the
some games can look
mentality
like
right there
that,
of
it's like
ignorance.
games, and they're loved by millions of people. I can't play clunky games that look like that, but the Demon Souls was, it wasn't as clunky as the original. And it got me, like it hooked me in. That was the one that hooked me in. Now I'm going
that
back.
that's what Ken he liked the game too. Did you platinum that game, Ken?
Which one?
The one that we were talking about, Demon
I'm
Souls.
sorry, I did. I'm sorry. Demon Souls, yes, I did. I did platinum Demon Souls, and I love the game. Yep.
Yeah. So I
From
mean,
software,
back in
man, I don't give a
the,
fuck about how their games look when it comes to anything.
and that's fine. I just wanted to call it out for all these people talking about ray tracing and 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 reflections and particles and 60 frames. I don't even think the game is 60 frames, is it? Elden Ring.
Who cares if
Should
it's
be.
not? Who cares if it's not?
It
I'm
should
not
be a
sure, man.
performance mode. I think these options are standard now.
Oh, I hope so.
I would like to believe that it is standard. Given the current climate.
At this
But I
point,
don't think
it better be standard.
I think games and generally even third party are setting that standard by now. I hope going forward that this is a thing. Fidelity mode. I like fidelity mode. I like to see what the most they can do graphically with games too. I was playing Spider-Man fidelity mode earlier today because I wanted to see, and
Yeah,
after
Spider-Man
a
looks
while,
good.
there actually is a difference. It's that stuff.
I mean, it is. It feels great to be able
So
to switch between 60 and 30 at, at your own leisure. You know what I mean?
so if okay, no disrespect to anybody in here that prefers more of I think like a fidelity aspect of games, the way games look. I get that, especially that we're going into like we're in a new generation now, so we expect to see that peak somewhere, right? Which I don't think we're actually going to get anytime soon. With that said, however, though, fucking like to those people that prefer that, like, what is that threshold that actually make the game look good visually wise to you? Like, what does that have to be a specific art style, or does it
That's
have to look a distinct way?
that's
That's
subjective.
a
It's gotta
that's a
blow
big
my
that's
fucking. It's
that's a
gotta blow my fucking mind.
that's a big part of it.
Yo, nice save there, kid. Nice save there, buddy.
Yo, Fatal, for me is like if they have to go down, like if say it's from 30 to 60, you see the difference, right, in frame rates.
Yeah, of course, of
They
course.
have to dumb down in how much you see on the screen, maybe some
Right.
detail. So if
Right.
the trade off is significant, I would switch between the two and play the game between the two. I would use both. To be honest, 'cause
Yep,
I would like to see
I've done it
what kind of
too.
difference is
So
there.
that's fine, but what about before like fucking these features started coming in? Like, has this always been an ongoing thing, or just something recently?
You talking about the 30 frames? I was good with 30 frames. So you see now
I
the
still
60,
am.
the 60, yeah, I'm still good with that. So
No,
if the 60,
I'm not talking about frames. Frames, I'm with you on the frame part. I'm talking about the graphical fidelity part.
that's why I want fidelity, because in Spider-Man, this is an example. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be able to improve on these type of things. But in
But excuse
Spider-Man, in
me.
fidelity mode, you got better lighting, better something. What the fuck now with geometry or some shit? There's a few other things that it mentions there, and I'm pretty sure there are other things that it doesn't mention that you get with fidelity that you don't get in performance. So
Right.
I want those extra
Yeah.
little perks. You know what I'm saying? If I want to have them on, I want the option to have them on, and if I want that smooth frame rate, then I want that option too. That's all I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, I don't like to
See,
me. I used
slowly
to.
but surely, console gamers good. Slowly get being converted, man, into PC motherfuckers, bro. Talking all that shit
Hey, I
knowledge,
We,
know.
bro.
we've
It's like because
we've had
PC has
That's
that
situations.
option.
crazy. That's
No,
fucking crazy, bro.
no. It's just the thing. If we've had options on consoles, you just didn't. You weren't there at the time. I guess I don't know what the fuck you were
No,
playing, but we been
actually,
had those options.
no, the fuck we did not.
Yes, we
No, the
did.
fuck we did not.
It
And
wasn't. It
PS4,
wasn't. It
PS4
A
we
wasn't.
lot
did.
of games
PS4.
that came out never really incorporated fucking that many features that PC fucking have as far
Sure,
as
but he didn't
like
say
changing
everything.
shit.
He said he had options.
Like I remember
Not
when
every
fucking
game,
when
but
Zombie U came out. When Zombie U came out for the Wii U, people were like, "What the fuck? This has an actual fucking field of view,
Yo,
FOV
but
slider? What the fuck?"
Fatal, I don't think they're converting us. I think they're adding features that PC can do instead of
Yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's
No,
my
he's
point.
just he.
I want to make
See,
that
but
clear.
he's just trolling. That's what that is.
I know what he's
Yeah,
doing.
but you know I'm
I
right
know
though,
Fatal. I
Josh.
knew Fatal.
No,
You know I'm right.
I just wanted Fatal to know that I knew that you trolling. That's all I wanted
I
to
see
say.
you
Yeah,
out there,
shut your
Fatal. I
ass
know
up,
what you're
Josh.
doing.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, bro.
So
Hey,
so my whole thing is
well,
yeah.
gaming is your friend. He has his hand up, man. What you got to say,
Yeah.
man?
No,
Are you a
really,
speaker? Or you can just jump in, dude. When you need to, just say something.
no, I like to let it flow. I don't like to be rude and interrupt or whatever. But the
Hey, man, you might want to get used to it, man. 'Cause you might not get a chance. If it
Everybody's
wasn't for
been
me,
doing
you
that.
wouldn't get a chance to speak.
yeah, we're all Americans. This ain't like
Dark
question
Souls
time, my
3.
dude. We just interrupt the shit out of each other.
Dark
Excuse me, sir.
Souls
I'm
3.
Canadian, not
That
American.
that looked great, and it was 60 FPS.
What game?
So Dark Souls 3.
Oh yeah. Too
Yeah.
bad about the gameplay though. But yeah.
I and the issue is now also they're using that as a way to excuse lower frames per second and not optimizing it properly for the console so it can run at 60 FPS at least and have those good quality graphics.
I know with Sekiro, they did optimize it because it was so fast paced, you know. But
Yeah.
with Dark Souls, I will 100% agree that the frames do drop at times. But I mean, the reason why Dark Souls gets a pass with graphics wise is because somebody could say Borderlands or Darksiders has good graphics, and then somebody could be like, but Dark Souls has good graphics, and it's like it's
Darksiders?
Somebody could say that. Just hear me out.
Yeah, true. Yeah, somebody could, yeah.
And somebody could say Borderlands has good graphics. Okay, somebody could say Grand Theft Auto has good graphics, which it does.
Yeah.
I will. It does. It really does. It's very beautiful. But you look at Dark Souls, and it's like, is it really meant to be a high graphic game? It's if
But
you
why
look at.
not both? But why not both though? They have to
I
redeem themselves.
Yo,
Yeah,
but
but
what
why does it
is
have to be both though?
is it gonna be that bad? Do we even know? I don't think it's gonna be that bad, bro. I know what you're talking about. I don't think
here's
that's gonna
the
be
thing.
look like that.
Because I want it that way, Fatal. I want it.
But
Here's
see,
my
that's
thing.
That's
you though.
why.
You don't speak for everybody though,
Here's
sir.
the thing. And I will give you that. I will give you that because Dark Souls is spacey with enemies. So at sometimes you will take a break and you will look at like the whole world and be like, damn, this is Dark Souls. I will give you that. But at the same time, when it comes to like boss fights and getting into fights, are you the time to be like character or the armor that no, you're going to be dodging. You're going to be dodging, using your Estus blast because you don't want to die and lose your 10,000 souls that you just worked so hard for.
Depend on if it's female.
Have you not seen?
Depend on the gender. Depend on the gender. I might.
Oh yeah,
Yo,
no,
no,
if I don't get
but that's the thing
hit,
though. People have like a Souls fashion fucking shit. There's even I think there's a Reddit for that, man, somewhere out there.
I'm just saying.
Where as a fighting game, as a fighting game is fast paced, right? So dead or alive. There was times when I was in training,
Yeah,
I just
staring
made
at
the character.
when I played that game.
I just made the character just crouch real quick, to see it jiggle.
Yeah, I wonder why you made them crouch, huh?
At some point,
I see you,
maybe,
Josh.
maybe.
Don't get AK titties. The game is trash, gentlemen. I think we can all agree.
You can't have no stone titties. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Just won't do. It just won't
DOA,
do.
man, when you play DOA, you ain't playing for the fighting, man. You're there for the fucking physics, man.
It's all that's how you measure it. It's the physics engine.
You're there for the fucking
But
physics.
I will say this. This is probably going to be one of the most controversial things to say.
What up, Jay?
I just want somebody to just. Oh, yo, King Thrash back.
Hey, I just
shit. What up, Thrash?
I just want to say what's up to the homies up in here. My three brothers, nigga Tay, nigga nigga Fatal. What's up, my brothers?
What up, fam? What up, fam?
The rest of you niggas is
What up,
half
homie?
irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Nah, yeah. Rest of y'all too. Rest of y'all too. That's my three big brothers up in here, man. I want to say what's up to these niggas. Hey, I just want to say one thing because I'm watching the game. I got family coming over. I want to say something real quick. You know what I'm saying? This is fuck with the minds. Hey, at this point though, tell me if I'm off. Wouldn't Microsoft be better off if they discontinued the Series X and kept the S?
You're wrong.
Oh
You
shit,
got
man.
$499.90, $399.99 memory card.
You said discontinue the S and keep the X, or the vice
No.
versa?
Vice versa, keep the S and discontinue the X. Yes.
Why?
Because
Why?
it affords more of those memory cards.
I do.
I can't hear him.
It affords them niggas. I mean, it affords people to buy those memory cards.
Why would you
Think
want
about
to
it.
force gamers to buy memory cards and force gamers
the
to
point.
spend money on
They
unnecessary
only
shit?
what Microsoft wants to do is they want to they've always said this. They want to make the gate of entry way easier, right? The Series S is an easier gate of entry. That's why it's there. The One X, people don't even advertise in their fucking shit anymore, bro. But I'm saying, if nobody's gonna fucking pay $399 or $499.99, however much it costs, $499, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, pay more. Nobody else gonna do that.
I did. I bought my X for $499. I bought my PlayStation 5 for $499. I have all the subscription services. And say lately, I'm not trying to knock it.
We'll just speak on that. I'm not gonna be able to. I'm just saying, just think about that real quick though. Like, if you got proprietary memory cards
based on
and you have the S will force them to you to get proprietary memory cards.
Damn.
No, I think that's wrong. I think
Who the fuck's phone was that?
it was Thrash.
I think that was Thrash.
He got that.
I don't know what kind of
afternoon delight fucking theme song, bro.
So I wouldn't say this controversial thing, right? I just want Sony to hurry up and just buy from software so they can be elevated. That's all.
They're
That's
not
all.
gonna.
Man,
Hey,
shut the fuck up, Josh.
This
Shut the
motherfucker.
fuck up, Josh. That ain't
Just
happening,
hurry up and
son.
buy him.
That ain't
This
Just hurry
happening.
up and
motherfucker
buy him.
always say the absurd shit that he know ain't gonna happen.
Just look, Sony, just hurry up and buy them. Just hurry up and buy them so I can get a remaster of Elden Ring from
Can I
Blue
can I raise
Point.
a question on acquisitions?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not to cut you off. So we automatically know already that Microsoft is looking to make more acquisitions, correct? Like Phil Spencer's, he just talked about it, said we're working on something already. So they've already got one. They have confirmed they're working on another acquisition. They've not announced what. They have not announced the timetable, only that negotiations are, and I quote, ongoing. So then he comes out and he says, we'll absolutely keep buying studios. We're not going to stop. There's no rush. There's nothing, but we are not going to. So he's confirmed that. So that is Microsoft's game plan. And that will ultimately work. I think Bethesda is proof positive of that. My question would be for Sony, right? So you look at Microsoft essentially. I would say as far as genres go, they're taking a commanding lead in Western RPGs. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah, they just got to get by BioWare, and they'll have complete authority
Right.
over
Once you have
Western
Bethesda,
studios.
Obsidian, and BioWare, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I would hate to see that happen because I'd like to play a Western RPG on my PlayStation. It's my favorite genre. My question is this for Sony, right? I have a place, so I understand it. I understand that there's a lot of bellicosity around Microsoft's acquisitions. And anybody that talks about organic growth, well, on either side, I think that's bullshit. Growth is growth. It doesn't. Everyone gets bought, so I think that's a bullshit concept. For Microsoft to say it about Sony, for Sony to say it, this organic growth is a bullshit concept used by people that don't understand the verbiage of either word, in my opinion. That being said, as PlayStation 5 fans, knowing that the pocketbook's a bit smaller, right? Well, not a bit, it's significantly, but the talent is there, the drive is there, the will is there, What do you see as being the most feasible? Because Microsoft they haven't even confirmed if it's a studio or a publisher. That might be Ubisoft, that might be Take-Two, that could be anything, right? I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those guys that does think it's Take-Two. And I could go into why. No, I do. And that's not just optimism or anything. I think, and I could go into exactly why I think that is, whenever you want. But where do you see Sony going? Because now they have to buy, right? It's a bidding war. Where does Sony go, knowing that they have these sort of infrastructural and sort of financial limit? I think Blue Point was great. I think that was a natural. But we all know Blue Point. What's a real independent IP for Blue Point? You know what I mean? Great, they're going to do great. I think Blue Point's working on a Bloodborne remaster, and that's great, and I want that. But it's not a solution. You know what I mean? So, as Sony, where do you guys go? What do you buy?
So I'm going to answer your question, right?
Sure.
You mentioned about
Here
this
you go.
two. You mentioned about these
Software.
$2 trillion, right?
Sure.
I'm gonna be serious. There's worth, and then there's how much money that they have in the bank.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So they're going to be more. They're going to be worth more because people are working from home and they're using Windows. They have no choice but to use Windows. So they're going to be worth more than a television company or a PlayStation company.
Sure.
So how much they have in the bank that they don't want to? That's another question.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So to say that that'll be disingenuous to say, oh, they have $2 trillion. They're worth that much because of what's happening.
Right.
With the
Yeah.
economy.
I don't think I said that. I think
Can I,
it's just safe to
Hob, can I respond to what you said there?
Yeah, go for it. My bad.
So you said organic growth was a bullshit concept.
That's my opinion. Yes.
No, I mean it's what do you think it is?
So when I hear the words organic growth, right now, my understanding is that refers to studios that have previously worked either exclusively or semi-exclusively with either of the two. Is that correct? Can we agree on that's the prevailing definition?
Okay, not only just worked, but they have to have some sort of success.
Sure.
with the companies
Yeah,
that they
absolutely.
work with.
No, I agree. So I think when people talk about organic growth, I think what people will think about would be like, people would think about like the Coalition or Insomniac, right? Like those are two big examples. Now, I understand why people use those words, and I think a lot of that is because it doesn't exist. I mean, I speak 4 languages, and in none of them is there a word or a concept that would even remotely touch on that. So they say organic growth.
Well,
I
here's the
think
thing. Here's the thing. That's the best way to describe it because you attach yourself to a company or a company attaches itself to
sure,
you, and you both grow together. That is literally what happened there.
but right,
So
but you
again,
could,
when
but
you
that would be
said it's a bullshit concept, but then you literally broke it down and
no,
and
no, no, no.
explained what it
Allow me,
is.
no, no, no,
Like
no.
Playground was organic growth.
No, but see, here's the thing. I
It's a
think
real thing.
Hold
But
on, let
look,
him
that's
finish.
what
Let him finish.
Go,
so.
hey
When
guys, let him talk, man. Go ahead.
No, you're bringing up good. No, I understand. And if I'd have ended it right there, you'd have been right. You would have. What I'm saying is, in terms of finance, in terms of the acquisition process, anytime anything is acquired, anytime that is inorganic because you didn't create it, you bought it. So to attribute, it's like to anthropomorphize a toaster. You can't inherently do it. I
that's not true
understand.
because if you help that company succeed,
Sure.
then it becomes it was on its way up with you by its side. So that's a little different than just acquiring a company that grew and made itself big on its own.
Sure, but then you could easily call it symbiotic growth, but that's not the term used.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
he
I mean,
decided
it's
to
still
label it that.
even if you're a publisher or somebody that bought them later down the line after they fucking, you
That's
still helping
inorganic.
that fucking yeah, you're
Yeah,
still helping that company.
So
no,
I would
not
argue that
You're
necessarily.
still
Let
a
the
part of
company
that
go.
growth.
right. I would argue that the term, in its defense, there's no other real way to, but the way that people conceptualize it is entirely erroneous. Now that would be my take on it.
I
So
don't know
I
because
don't
I
believe.
think my understanding of it was exactly what you said, which is exactly what they meant, which is just they just wanted to label it something and they chose organic growth. It's just he could have said these are companies that we work with that we feel fit. Actually, they did say that we feel fit perfect within our portfolio and our studios, and that's what they
No,
mean by it.
I agree, but then don't anthropomorphize it. You know what I mean? And if they
I
weren't,
think the fans do that.
No,
I think
yeah,
he
no, it is the
was
fans.
yeah,
creating
the
something
fans,
It
new.
is the
the
fans.
fans made it. The fans made it fanboyish by saying the things that they say.
And
And
we
yeah,
made
when
fun of
you're
it
on
too.
Twitter, when you're on Twitter, you see a lot of this shit. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So that you're going to see it.
But what do you guys
And
want to
that's what it
see
is.
be acquired? I guess that was my.
So I'm going to say this: Take-Two is not up for sale for anybody because you still got to want to be purchased. And if
Sure.
you're going to be, and you saying that Microsoft has all of this war chest, right? Because I hear this a lot.
It depends on how you
Um,
define war chest, but yeah.
well, money to buy studios,
Money to spend, money to spend.
Okay, then yeah,
money
then
to
I would say
swim.
yeah,
So
war
I
chest.
think
Okay.
that's the only definition of it. But going by that, they purchase studios and then close them down. So why
Sure,
did
for
they
financial.
close them down? But they have all the money in the world, though. Why
Well,
did
then
they
they would.
close them down?
Well, so here's the thing. No, that's a good point. I hope my answer doesn't sound like a cop out. If it does, feel free to call me out on it. I would argue that when you ask me that question, directors, not privy meetings,
No, you
whatever.
gotta
But
be
I would say,
sorry.
but superficially, based on the numbers given, that it was for financial and logistical reasons. I'm not justifying that by any means because it's a good point. Buying things to close them does feel like you're just shutting out competition and fucking parking your car in 2 spaces. I understand, so I get that. I would, when it comes to Take-Two, that is a separate conversation. I think of the major ones. I would argue the evidence points to Take-Two. There's nothing that's been said that specifies the name Take-Two. So my anecdotal evidence, and it is all anecdotal for Take-Two, is simply this: on the day of the PlayStation Showcase, Phil Spencer was in a meeting, seen in public with Strauss Zelnick. Now that could be anything. That could be 100,000 different things. Fully agree. Immediately thereafter, they announced that Borderlands themed gear, right, was going to go to Sea of Thieves, right? So that was that day. Furthermore, that day they not a margin call. What do you call it? It's not a margin call. They announced a whatever that meeting where they have their like quarterly finances, but it's not really quarterly because they'll do them 2 or 3 times a year. You know what I mean? It was the very same day. Then you have Strauss Zelnick kind of there was that slip of verbiage where he said we, and the 30 million number, to the best of my knowledge, is not correct. I think we all agree on that. But he chose to use the word we. Now that could be a number of different things. But in terms of the pronoun, that does seem to be a collective. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything is guaranteed. Like, would I bet my life on it? My left ball? Absolutely not. Am I one of those guys out there saying, "Oh, it's Take-Two because my cousin's sister's dog walker works for fucking"? No, but I think of the big ones, if you look at and I'm not saying it's happening, I'm saying of the big ones, because we know one's in negotiation. We just don't know which. We don't even know if it's a publisher. It could be an individual studio. And if it is, that would obviously rule out Take-Two. And that would rule out like WB Games and Ubisoft. Those are all publishers, not studios. It could be something as simple as Crystal Dynamics, which is currently working on Perfect Dark with the initiative.
Yeah, I
That could
think
be
I heard a rumor about Crystal Dynamics.
yeah,
Too.
that could very well be the case. But if it is a publisher, and even when you take all these studios and all these publishers, I look at the evidence and I base it on three things. Happenstance, right? The last time that Phil Spencer was seen in public with the head of a publisher was with Todd Howard, and we got Bethesda. So there's sort of
But Todd
that could be
Howard is
anything.
and you're
That could be
right.
anything.
The whole thing is this. With the exception, well, even when you look at Bethesda, those studios or small studios within that umbrella of ZeniMax, you know what I'm saying? And the studios that they purchased were troubled financially anyway. So and then to put the final statement on it, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying they weren't buku money. They weren't buku at all.
Yeah,
but I will
only Fallout 4 really did that great for Halo or Doom did pretty good, but
yeah, Doom was good.
The second Dishonored didn't sell hardly dick.
And the Doom games, and the Doom games weren't doing crazy numbers either, especially what they wanted. I will say this: if they were in bed together behind the scenes, where's the Take-Two games on Game Pass?
Well, exactly.
As a testing point.
You will, and if you remember, and that's true. If you remember, the Bethesda games did not go on Game Pass till almost 2-3 months after the acquisition. So I look at it though. I break it evidentiarily, right? And do I want it to happen? A part of me says yes, because I want I'm going to play Borderlands, Grand Theft Auto. I don't want to pay for that shit. So if I can get them for free, fuck yeah. The other part of me is like, no, that's a little monopolistic. Any legislation or any.
They got to do better than 20 million. They got to do better than 20 million subscribers selling at $1.
That's what I'm saying. No, I agree.
Pop-Tarts.
My dollar ended this week, so
I absolutely agree.
They're going to have to do those numbers, and you talk about the growth and everything like that. They're half stories, and this is something that Microsoft does well. They mention half stories. They are very, very preview of saying half stories with this. We don't know we don't know how that's divided. And I'm not shitting on the idea, but even if you like the games or you don't like the games or whatever the case is, we don't quite know what's happening with the Game Pass numbers. Regardless, all we do know is that when I purchased my laptop, I got Game Pass. I could have been a subscriber for that month. I don't want it on my laptop. But there's laptops, there's tablets that was being mentioned on. There's soda, there's Pop-Tarts, there's a whole bunch of shit.
It's a giant ad campaign for. I'm just saying.
How will we know how successful this thing is?
Well, we don't.
You know what I'm saying? You can't buy billions of dollars worth of companies.
We as consumers will never know how successful something is.
And I get it. You will find out eventually.
No,
you will find out eventually.
Not really.
Not numeric. But if no, I'm not talking about
either side can give us false numbers, and we take that shit and run with it.
What I'm saying though is that if it's not successful, then it will disappear. That's how you will know.
No, I agree. I think that the issue is this though. You will know. Anybody that says you won't is incorrect, because you will get the transcripts of the earnings calls. You can look at the transcripts of CD Projekt Red's most recent
and they didn't say too much, and they were still vague about Game Pass.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You can only have a game plan, but you will get.
No, I know, but you'll get there. But if that's the case, there's transcripts of it. Then how much You're knowledgeable. How much? What's the subscriber count
Oh, there's
for
no,
Game Pass?
no. I said CD Projekt Red because they're the most.
I know, but you're saying that these earnings have their transcribed. So
No,
what's the number?
They haven't had an earnings call yet. I'm saying you will know because invariably there will be because the SEC says you have to file them. It's law. So you will know. You'll know how much. Can I give you a time frame? No, you'll know when they announce an earnings call, when the quarterly reports come in. Everybody will know. It's basic finance.
They tried everything under the sun to make that number jump, and that's the problem. You can't buy billions and billions of dollars. And I'm saying you can't buy billions of dollars of studios, right? And then try to make it off of 15, 20, 30 million subscribers and then selling that shit for $1. When people buy Netflix, they're buying it at full price or sharing it, but it's still at some point being bought at full price.
If they're sharing it, it's not being bought at full price. It's being split through. If they're buying it, right, that full price is being split through 6 people. So it's
only. Oh, wait. They said subscriber. They said not accounts. Not accounts. They said no. They said subscribers.
I'm talking about your example of Netflix.
Netflix is telling you what it is. 200 million subscribers. They are subscribers. They're not accounts.
Yeah. Okay. You got it.
I mean, I'm not understanding what the confusion is coming from.
So
no.
The confusion.
We'll talk later.
I think the confusion is coming from the fact that we're all confused. Nobody really has any concrete 100% idea that doesn't sit in a boardroom. I think confusion is a general word that could describe what we understand to be the subscription service day and day Game Pass business model. Because anybody, like, I won't tell you I fully understand it. I think I understand it better than most. But would I go out and, would I give, a symposium on it? No, not a snowball's chance in hell. I would argue, however, that all indications so far point to it being a success, point to it being, the future of I mean, again, that's subject to a billion different changes at a trillion different moments. And I understand that. I'm just saying right now, I think the fundamental difference between Sony and at this juncture, as I see it, between Sony and Microsoft, is that Microsoft looks like it looks more innovative. And I don't think anyone would disagree. Now, whether that innovation is a success or not remains to be told. I would argue that from all indications, it appears successful because, like I said, 37% is exponential. It's double digits in financial terms. So it's successful by any margin. Did they fuck up? Yeah, it wasn't 48%. That's what they should have got. That's what their shareholders were expecting. It ties back into the concept of fiduciary responsibility. They did not maximize profits for their shareholders. Therefore, it was, in effect, a failure. It was a failure and a success at the same time. So that's where the confusion comes from. Because
at the same time, though, if my total subscriber count was 10, right?
Sure.
And if I gain 3,
right?
You're saying that's substantial, but in the grand scheme
of
things, it doesn't mean shit.
No, it's extremely substantial in the grand scheme of things. Because if you have 10 million, you gain 3 million. That's 30%. That's enormous. So it is substantial. If you have 18 million and you gain 37%, that's almost 6-7 million. So, I mean, in mathematical financial terms, it is. I understand what you're saying because you're using it as a microcosm, but the fact remains that is a success and a failure at the same time. So, but it's only a failure on bureaucratically. I think so. That's the difference. Is because it was a promise made to shareholders, and shareholders ultimately drive the success of any company because you're not going to buy stock in shit, right? I mean, it's not Enron. No one's looking to split Enron. So, Game Pass is a success. Because it's exponential growth, that's a fact. But Microsoft missed the target. So now
you could say it's doing well, but in terms of a success,
I would say debatable. Well is just an adjective applied to success, which is a noun. The sky is blue.
There's a type of success,
right? But I think success is success.
Is that Ken? Is that Ken? What are you saying, Ken?
No, I didn't say anything.
I'm gonna say something. Oh, to answer your question, who's the next acquired?
Who you guys would like, and because you're all PlayStation guys, like individually, I think you're weakest in Western RPGs. That's personally my opinion. I don't know if that's.
I'm a gamer.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm just saying.
That's the equivalent of saying this. That's so ridiculous. By the way, Tay, no. No.
Whack.
By the way, guys, since y'all the guys has been here for so long and this shit, hit that follow button to help out this damn fucking Twitter.
Yeah,
Please, just hit
yeah,
that shit. It's not
exactly.
that hard.
I just want to say real quick, spaces suck. That's why I left multiple times. Sorry about that, but my earphones went out. But yeah, I want to say this is a question I have. Would you say that the reason Microsoft is not doing well, financially, is because they're so giving to their customers, their consumers?
Is that for me or just in general?
Just in general, because you've seen like they have backwards compatibility, they have this, they have that. Would you say that that may be like a reason why they are not doing so well financially? Because if you think about it, PlayStation, when we try and like for Grand Theft Auto, you wouldn't need to do that for Xbox. You
Well,
wouldn't need to
No, you're
like.
right. Here's the thing, though. You're right. I disagree with you. I'll be the voice of Microsoft right now, even though I hate to take that man. I'm just doing it because of the demographic. Yeah. No, I know. Please don't get the pitchforks and the torches out.
I already got mine out.
Yeah, that's cool. Just make it quick. Don't burn me for too long. But what I would say is this: so if you, I would disagree with your premise. Your premise was that Microsoft is not doing so well financially. That's actually completely erroneous, and this is why. So Microsoft closed out, I believe, their Q4 2021.
Well, he meant Xbox.
Okay, so if you mean Xbox, but see, even Xbox, right? So here's the thing. So just to clarify, are we moving from Microsoft to Xbox to the gentleman that asked that question?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you meant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because
No, and that's fine. I'm not like busting your balls for it. That's fine.
because they got a budget and they got a budget in each department, and that budget
agreed. I
can't.
know, but what I'm saying is he said Microsoft, which closed out with
Yeah,
record.
Microsoft focused money.
Which is my
Okay,
bad. I
and
meant to say
and
Xbox.
that's fine. Yeah, no, I'm not busting your balls for it. I just wanted a little clarity so I knew what to tackle. So, and I would still disagree. I'm just going to throw different numbers at you. So, console sales for the Series X were for Q4 2021, it was 232% increase. Impressive. Game Pass subscriptions were somewhere between 37 and 42%. Now, that's not the 48 overall they want. That's just the growth vis-a-vis the number they were given that January, which was like 18.4 million, something around there. So, and Microsoft's game division is actually posting, I think it was overall, it was a 52 points. You'd have to look it up. You feel free to bust my ball. Feel free to correct me. But it was 52 point something, I think, percent increase overall. It generated $3.14 billion. So it is in the green. It is profit. So it's not struggling financially. So I will disagree with that right off the bat.
So in terms of profit, right? Because there's R&D as well, and this is synonymous with
that 3.14 billion.
Electronics companies.
Yeah, that 3.14 billion covers it all. That's net. That's the
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, and what I am saying when it comes to R&D, we don't know what kind of games they're making. We don't know if it's before ZeniMax.
I would argue we do.
Well, I mean,
they've released a giant lineup.
No. I'm talking about tangible proof.
Yeah, so
I'm not talking about a list wars. I'm talking about where's the gameplay. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so we're looking at like Forza and Halo and things of that nature.
So you got Forza, Halo, and then what else?
Okay, so are we talking about 2021 or 2022? Because I'm basing let's
talk about let's make it easier. 2022. Yeah. What's the gameplay footage? Where is it?
So 2022. Give me a second. I gotta see. So just exclusives for 2022. We are looking at in order. So starting, Halo would fall into 2022 technically because that's a December 8th. So we'll go from Halo, and then February's big for PlayStation, small for Xbox because they got Horizon and God of War.
No, just Xbox in 2022.
I'm going through the list of titles in my head. So coming up, you have Warhammer. So 40K Darktide is going to be big. That's in March. You've got Halo in December. Redfall was slanted for April. Now it's summer. So, take that as you will. That's not a very good sign for Xbox. But, it's something to go with. You've got Starfield in November. You've got Scorn, which is just 2022, right? You've got Stalker in April. Stock is also April. Scorn is 2022, unlisted. No particular date. So what we're saying with those games is this: you have a racing simulator. You have not a race. That's 2021. You have a first person shooter in Halo, correct? As far as you got another one, which is more of an open sandbox first person shooter in like Stalker. You got games like that. You've got like a Left 4 Dead type co-op monster in Darktide. I think. And Senua, I think is 2022. Senua's Hellblade's 2022. There's no date. Hellblade would sort of fulfill where Sony's very great. I think Sony does this best at that third-person narrative-driven action. So you've got Hellblade in there for Xbox. So we know what kind of games they're making. We know that they're very RPG-heavy. So if you're not an RPG guy, maybe Gamepass is not that appealing to you. I'm a little biased, not based on the platform of the service, but merely because I'm an RPG guy. If this was on Sony, I'd be screaming Jim Ryan's praise, and that's because I love RPGs.
But you didn't answer my question though.
You're asking what kind of games, so I'm saying
no gameplay. I'm looking for what of these games.
Oh, there's
all
no
those
gameplay.
games had gameplay.
No,
Like-
there's trailers, there's cinematic
Just Halo.
Trailers with gameplay in it.
Yeah, but okay, but so here's
Scorn
the thing.
has gameplay.
Scorn does have gameplay. You're right. Scorn actually does have gameplay. That's correct. Scorn has
Sony
gameplay.
is gonna be DLC,
Stalker
right?
2 has gameplay too.
Stalker
What
has
is it?
gameplay. That's true. Stalker.
Hellblade is DLC, right? Hellblade 2 is DLC.
Right, I forgot.
Is Stalker is Stalker is it Microsoft?
Hellblade,
Yeah,
Is that Microsoft? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Stalker 2 is not Microsoft.
No, it's
it's not Microsoft. It's multiplayer.
multiplat, but it has a day and date Game Pass, and I think it's
No,
6 months.
no, I'm talking about exclusives.
Okay, so take off Stalker then. The list would stand otherwise. So if you want to talk pure, that take off Stalker. And then if you're going to do it on the PlayStation, I think the only thing you'd have to drop on the PlayStation sign, and no, you would have to take off Stalker and Ghostwire, and then essentially you would have the same lineups. I think because you were asking me we don't know what kind of games they're making. I would argue we absolutely know what kind of games they're making, whether you've seen the gameplay or not, right? You
can't go into a list war.
No,
and say
no,
that say that they have all these games and we don't even know what it is.
No,
in terms of
that's not what I'm trying to do. Let me digress. That's my fault, not yours. What I'm saying is this: 100% beyond a reasonable doubt that Fable 3 will be a third-person game, correct?
it was rumors that it may not be.
But Fable's going to be a third-person game, right? We haven't seen gameplay of Horizon. We know that's a third-person game. So I would
wait. No. Yes, we did. We got 20 minutes of that, but
Forbidden West got a state
is there
of
20
play,
minutes of Horizon game? I'm not aware of that. If that's the case,
Hell yeah, bro.
We
got gameplay for every game coming out next year. We got gameplay for
I just want to
Gran Turismo.
And I want to let you, as well. I want to let you know this too, Hobgoblin.
Sure.
Sony used to do the same thing that Microsoft was doing. They would show a trailer, and that game wouldn't be ready for like 3 years. They got blasted by that from the fans. They did not like that shit.
No,
they wanted immediate results. So it's not like no one knows. See, the thing is with Sony is that they build their fan base. This is why we were talking about devaluing. They built their fan base, and the fan base knows from the history of this platform of what we don't need to know the future. We know their studios are creating certain things and how they create certain things. So we have history of that. So
but I would argue that to arbitrarily say that one corporation's fans are better informed than another, it is just. I would argue against.
No, he's not saying that. He's not. What he's saying
unless
is,
I'm misinterpreting. If I'm misinterpreting,
what he's saying is the track record. There's no denying it. It was consistent for damn near the whole gen last gen. And
PS3, and they built it on PS3, and they continued it on PS4, and then they're doing it again on PS5. They're doing this on purpose in terms of they want you to worry about the now. I get it.
That's not saying that you're misinformed. It's just that I
understand. No, I understand because I was a PS4 gamer myself, and you're talking about generational, reliability, and I agree with that. The problem is, my brother, this isn't their generation, and Sony's not the same Sony, nor is Microsoft. You know what I mean? So it's a tabula rasa across the board. It's a blank slate, and it effectively is. And both games divisions have said blank slate. I think Herman Hulst said it about 2 years ago, and I can't believe his name's really Booty, but fucking, I think that guy just said it too. Yeah, that's a rough one to take onto the playground. That guy, oh fuck. But I would argue that no, I will not intrinsically say one corporation is more benevolent to its fans than the other. I think that would be the definition of sort of fanboy. I'm not saying you're a fanboy. I'm saying because if I'd have done it the same way, I think Microsoft has shown a track record of being a little more consumer friendly, and I'll give it that because that's just raw empirical data. That's numbers.
Well, so I will say this
That's
before
the
we
same
wrap it up.
data.
Because, so I will we have to wrap it up. I will say this. It's not that I'm a fanboy, right?
Sure.
I know you weren't. With this conversation, I know the climate of the conversation and you in general. I will say this though. You got to look at the history of things. This is not necessarily a clean slate with all of these companies. You know what I'm saying? Like they're starting over and they're doing new things, but this is not a clean slate. They pulled the same shit on Xbox One generation, and then they continued it on, but this time they threw Game Pass in the mix. You had
your music. Would you give them the benefit of the doubt though going forward? Would you think do you think they're gonna improve?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I need one more year. I need one more year. I need one more year to see what they're going to produce. I think it's a little bit. I think it's ridiculous that they bought these studios back in 2017, 18, and nothing really came out of it of quality.
Well,
other than you could say I mean you got Psychonauts, but they were making Psychonauts, and then Deathloop you can't really say it's theirs because they were making it. It is theirs now, but they were making this shit before the acquisition.
Right, but if I bought a used car, it's still my car now. You know what I mean? I understand.
No, but it's not like Microsoft used their money and built this shit. They were already making it.
Sure,
that's the thing. You can't off of a technicality. You can't sit there and say that. Well, it's theirs now. Look what Microsoft is doing. That's not fair.
Well, I agree. I don't think multi-billion-dollar acquisition qualifies as technicality. You know what I mean? I feel like
it is a technicality because there is a culture with Microsoft, as with Nintendo, as with Sony, and the culture is blatant.
Well, I would argue
that's my thing. Now, Microsoft is doing brand new things. That's cool with Game Pass. We still have Game Pass is not proven yet, and those numbers we don't know what numbers. They growth. I fucking was looking at X videos, right? I was looking at X videos, a fucking porn site, and the shit popped up.
Hell yeah!
Before you bust that night, Game Pass. I'm like, whoa, hold up.
What?
Hey man, they're kind of low key geniuses with that one, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you tell me.
No, but I mean,
I tell you, Game Pass includes Pornhub Premium. Holy shit!
I'm joking on this, and I get it. But my point is that it's not proven yet.
Seriously,
the idea is sound. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's very. If they can pull it off, it's very consumer friendly.
It's still in an experimental phase. It is an experimental phase because it's a brand new business model. It's never been done. So you're right about that. My fundamental respectfully, of course, my fundamental disagreement with you is that you can look at the numbers and it is exponential growth and it is profit. So is it ideal? No, I'd like to see every major gaming company.
I like to get everything for free if I wanted to, but I know that's not how the world works. I get it though.
It used to not be how the world works, and now we're getting to the point where it almost kind of is. So almost.
We still got
there is a subscription fee. You're right. Anyone that says
subscriptions always start cheap and it always keeps going, and the content keeps going down.
We got electric cars, but we still got Lamborghinis too. So
that's true. I understand. We have a lot more electric cars than we do Lamborghinis. Do we not?
We will see.
We prefer Lamborghinis though. Everybody wants Lamborghinis.
Look. I can tell you this. I guarantee you. What console did you play the most since its launch? before Halo?
So for this generation or in
So
total?
far, no. So far, this generation, this year.
This
What console did you play
generation,
at most?
I definitely now play Xbox more. Overall,
No. November?
You just asked the man. Hold up. How you gonna change the question like that? That's
No,
crazy.
I
You
didn't.
didn't even
I
give me the answer that you
said when he
it's a
said
fair
no.
question.
Wait. When he said this generation, I'm talking about this generation. We're not on PS4. I'm talking about this generation.
No, that's
Hey,
last
guys.
generation.
Hey,
PS4 is last generation.
Hey, Hobgoblin, when you're done answering that question, I'm gonna let JTech talk. Go ahead, though.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
Josh asked you a question. Go ahead.
So this generation, since the advent of the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, I played the Xbox more.
What did you play?
Let me pull it up right now. I got it on. I played pretty much everything. I went through all the
Call of Duty.
No, I uninstalled that after a while. It got boring. I like a good multiplayer, but no. So I invested a lot of mine, like I said, in RPGs. I went through a lot of games I'd previously gone through once they had that optimized update. So I went through like Doom. I went through all those RPGs. Currently, I got Fallout 6. I just got the Crisis remastered. I haven't really jumped into that yet. Looking forward to it. And then before that, I went about 2 months where I didn't really play Xbox. I did the same thing on PlayStation. So I went through. I got the Iki Island, DLC. Love that. I went through. I think I went through Mass Effect, the remaster. That was all on PS5. I love that. So I play more Xbox because I find Xbox offers me more of what I'm into.
So, but those games, I will say this, and then Jake, you can jump in. Those games that you are talking about are multi-platform.
Sure, absolutely.
So you decided to play on Xbox, not off of the merit of exclusivity or Game Pass. It just seems like you were just playing third-party games.
It was more convenient.
Maybe you're not factoring into the consumer friendliness. So like Back 4 Blood, played that on Xbox. The Ascent, played that on Xbox. You know what I mean? If there was a choice,
what was the consumer friendly? But what was the consumer friendly portion?
Hey guys. Let JTech say what you gotta say, man. Go ahead, bro.
Thanks for inviting me, man. So what's let me see, God of War on PC August graphics. Fill me in. I just got in here. I'm pretty much done my work, so
That's unfortunate because we were going to wrap up and stuff like that. But basically, what we were talking about.
Late.
Yeah, we're probably gonna go for like 15 minutes or so.
Extra. No, but essentially, what we were talking about is
my man was fashionably late.
That dude came rolling in there, skating. He says, "Well, we enjoy your presence, though. We appreciate it."
Thanks, man.
But no, it really. I just want one more question before we wrap this up. One more question. This is interesting because this nigga's smart.
Thank you. I don't really know how to. I appreciate that. No, yeah, nice. It's very nice to hear.
Off the air.
You know what? I wish more people were like you, man. Because you actually seem like a calm and reasonable person.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, these are just plastic boxes. That's how
it is. The question I have is: you said that consumer friendly with these games. What was consumer friendly again? What was that?
Well, say again.
You said that there was something consumer friendly about it. I was forgetting.
Yeah, so a lot of the appeal for me, being a PlayStation 4 gamer, owning a PlayStation 5, and moving over, mostly, not exclusively, to the Series X, it's the nature of how consumer friendly it is. Xbox, through a variety of ways. I mean, and like I said, I'm going to drop the magic word again. I know that you say Game Pass, and whether you can. No, right? Yeah, I know. Fuck.
You sounded you are speaking just like Phil Spencer right now.
Did JTech ever get a chance to say what he wanted to say?
He just asked what was going on. That was all. He said, "Fill me in." I just want to know this: those games that you played, right?
Sure.
Which were the games that were on Game Pass?
Oh, okay. There's quite a few of them. You give me like 20 seconds to pull it up real quick. Like the most recent for me is Back 4 Blood. I can tell you that. I'm having a ball with that. Them zombies ain't fucking around though. So Back for
Hard as
Blood.
hell. Hard as hell.
Yeah. I tried playing on Veteran. I got my asshole impregnated. Nope,
Oh
not doing
yeah.
that again.
Oh
But yeah, Back for
yeah.
Blood is a very recent example. That's the most recent example. Would be Back for Blood. Coming up.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm down to rock with you on Back for Blood.
Oh,
tonight
let's do
and
it,
try
dog.
to get
Let's
down.
do it.
All right, bet.
Hey man, if you could jump in the Discord, bro. We always
Just
do
DM
that.
me the link and I'll join you.
Oh, definitely send me the Discord invite.
For sure.
Yeah,
But
we got a little community thing, yo. We want to keep this active and stuff like that. You know what I'm thinking about doing? You know what I'm
Yeah,
thinking about doing too?
the link
That
is in the
Hell.
tweet at the top.
What's that?
Yeah. That what was it? Hell. What the fuck is that game again? Hold
Hell
on,
Let
let me see.
Loose?
Yeah, I want to get
just
into it.
bought that
So
off-
I
yeah,
want to get into that game, yo.
I downloaded it. I think it was free on PSN or something, so I downloaded. I haven't played it yet.
So there is some consumer friendliness on the PlayStation.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, what
Yeah,
game?
no,
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would never.
No way.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
I would never say.
You know, I'm busting your balls.
No, I know, but I think for clarity, it's important. Yeah, just let the record reflect that. I'm not saying that Sony's not consumer friendly at all. I think, and I like that they're going to be doubling the PSN games. We're going to be getting this one. I think that's fantastic. I'm always a fan of gamers getting more for less. Because
That was last month. They fucked up last month. That's what happened.
My big gripe with other this support the dev shit, like that's no support your pocketbook. I hear support the devs, and anyone that said that's great. Those are the devs are just fucking fine. I promise you, the devs are fine.
It's a mix. You know, and the reason why I feel this way.
Agree.
Oh yeah, by the way, just like what Ken said, the Discord link is in the Twitter. So we have a little.
Perfect.
My thing is, you know what the fuck you signed up for. You know how that industry is, and you chose it anyway. Like,
Amen.
Yo, but look, when we say support the devs, we just mean if you want to buy a game, buy it. Like, that's it.
Sure, but I want to get my
and
game
I
for free.
definitely will when it's on sale.
Yeah, you can do that too.
And
But like,
I'm not rich. I'm not hurting for money. If you tell me the option is between paying $70 for a game and paying nothing dollars for a game, I'm getting it for nothing dollars.
That's fine, but that's fine.
And I think there's no
all
argument against that.
is that every game is not going to be on there, right? Like PlayStation Studios is not going to be on there, but you don't have to buy them either.
Yeah,
You don't have
absolutely.
to buy them either. You can buy them if you want.
Oh, I've already got God of War. Is it God of War Horizon? I can't remember which one. I already pre-ordered one of them, whichever one was available. No, I have no problem buying games.
They're all worth $70.
Yeah, no, I have no problem buying games if I'm bereft of any other option. But if you're telling me to pay $70 for a game that I can get for no dollars, I think that is the most asinine, inane argument that anyone. And that's just my opinion. And
Eventually,
you know what I was telling people about Back for Blood. I'm like, if you bought that game, that was kind of the wrong move because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it should have got on.
Eventually, though, I will say this, and listen, we can look at this shit in the future. I don't think the model is going to last in its iteration.
Okay.
That long, I really don't. Give it 2 years. I think it's going to be a problem.
Game Pass?
Game Pass.
Maybe the price will double.
I think it's definitely gonna last, and they're gonna replace it with free games that they give out each month. Because
I'm not gonna say. I say in its iteration. So
guys, how much is the max that you would pay for Game Pass? The max.
I could see myself being. So if they keep to the schedule, and if Microsoft is really gonna, because I mean they got like 29 games. I mean that's a shit ton. If they can keep to the schedule, if they can turn out these games and they are the quality, I could see myself paying $29.99 and no more than that.
Almost.
If it keeps pumping up games, yeah.
If I'm going to get a new game every month, which is and
no, that
way
shit
it
gotta
looks
stay
at
15 for me. 15 a month.
Keep that shit though.
if you're going to get a new game every month,
I don't even pay 15 a month.
Then the threshold is $59.99 if you're going to get at least, and you know you're going to get it. If they can keep to the schedule and it all sort of works out the way that it, and it never does, but more or less, if they can keep to that schedule, turn out the quality of games that we expect to see.
Well, the schedule would be like what, 2 games of every 6 months or something?
No, the schedule would
Wait. Was that 59 for the year or 59 per month?
If they turn out 2 games, right, 2 exclusive games, and the quality is consistent, if you theoretically take that at $140, now would I pay it? I don't know. Theoretically, the money-saving threshold if you're going to pay $140, will be $139. So if you're getting 2 games a month and you know you're going to get them, it's $140. Theoretically, the threshold for what you pay should be $139. Now, is that wrong? Of course, because you can't say your service is consumer friendly if you're one fucking
you're
dollar
not
wrong.
doing 130 a month. That never gonna happen.
No,
I
right?
never
No,
expect
I know.
that.
That's what
Nah.
I'm saying. Though that's
He
the
said,
whole,
"Nah."
that's the whole point. You'd be paying
Yeah, no,
$1,600
never
a
mind.
year for a
What
subscription
he's
service.
that's not
What
Right
I'm
now.
saying, because that's the most ridiculous example. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I mean
I'm
that's
trying to
like a
highlight
sales
the
point.
efficacy of the
That's what it is.
service. You know
You're
what I mean?
basically selling the game. Nah, but
Right.
I think 15 should be the permanent price for it.
I think
Forever.
that's where they're going to go. I think 15, from what I've read and from what I understand, 15 is a comfortable medium. The only thing that I'm currently tracking that would sort of indulge itself into a price hike is a plan, and it's not concrete yet. It's in the theoretical, and it's optional. It wouldn't take away from your ultimate or nothing. It would be to expand Games Pass to like 2 or 3 different devices in the house, and that would be like an extra $5 per device. So if you have like 4 Xboxes, or you want to put, you know what I mean? So that would be, and I'm okay with that because I'm not going to need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
They
don't
don't already
even
have that.
pay for PS Now right now, and that's cheaper, and I don't pay for that.
Yeah, my fundamental opinion on that would be you're still paying for an online subscription to play PlayStation, right? Online, whether it's Call of Duty, Battlefield, what have you. You are paying an online fee, correct?
Yeah, PS Plus. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And so,
I think that's valuable though. I think they
yeah,
get
no,
that.
I agree. I think so I have PS Plus and PS
I
Now.
can't fuck with PS Now, man. I play too much every day.
I shouldn't have it still because I've beaten all those games, but I like to have it because if I hadn't played The Last of Us 2, that would have been a great pickup. Definitely worth the price for a month. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of that game, but so I would argue that the price threshold for Games Pass is a simple economic concept called diminishing marginal utility. So when the price of Game Pass exceeds that which you would be saving, it is obviously not financially viable. So theoretically, if you buy 2 games a month, you could rationalize it saying, well, those are both $70 games, or actually $60, $70 games, what have you. So either $119.99 or $129.99 or $139.99, however you want to break it down. But theoretically. Now, but that's extortion. What Games Pass is good at is making the claim, and it is true, I don't think anyone could deny, that it is consumer friendly. My opinion is you can't really say you're consumer friendly if you're only saving people $1 a month, at $139. So it would depend on your interpretation of that, how consumer friendly you're going to be, what the metrics for that are going to be. I think as it stands, Game Pass it's excellent. It could do better. It's not perfect.
I think it's great. I could check games on my phone, download docs, do all of that. Like I don't even have to be home to check if I want to play.
But can you move
later.
games? But can you move games between your storage units on the your Xbox?
Yeah.
On your app. I'm playing. Oh shit. Never
Yeah,
mind.
on your app you can.
Well, fuck y'all then. Cut this shit off. Fuck
Can
y'all.
you do that on PlayStation? You can do that on PlayStation.
It's called
You can do that on
xCloud.
PlayStation app.
Yeah, you can do it on the PlayStation app too. It's xCloud migration, I think is what it's called. So
Yeah,
Game Pass, I think Game Pass will change the landscape of gaming. I think 10 years from now, probably less. I think 4 or 5. And because I'm going to tell you this right now, there is no way Sony is going to go through the rest of this generation without coming out with an equivalent. They will do something. They're already talking about that demo.
I'm gonna tell you. I keep saying this, guys, and I'm gonna tell y'all again. If Sony does this, if Sony does a PS Now day and date release of a game, it's not gonna be in the same budget.
Ain't gonna be the big ones.
No, it'll be a lot smaller.
No, their multiplayer is fucking focus shit.
There will be a game within the budget where it's sustainable in that service, and if they drop a game there and it fails, it won't happen again.
So that's kind of you would need a real predictive analysis model for that. I see what you're saying.
This is all in my brains over the years, man. This is as far as
I see what you're saying. I think you would need a predictive analysis model for that. Insofar as Sony's never really done that, whereas we have.
And I ain't gonna do it either.
Yeah, right. No, but we have a year or two, of Game Pass, and if it did happen, obviously we have to accept that the Sony lineup is invariably now going. And it doesn't make it worse. It's going to be a little smaller. It's got some budgetary restrictions that Microsoft.
I think the best thing they can do is continue what they do with PS Plus. Drop games here and there whenever they can. brand new games. They've done that. I know Destruction All Star people shit on it. I had fun for like a couple of weeks with it.
I
That's it.
I think
It's a
think
failure
Sony
nonetheless.
to compete needs to move.
No,
I think they have to.
I don't say this to compete. I say this just to cover a department of consumer friendly because I guess that's a big thing now. Right? Everybody wants to.
It is. Yeah, I think that's my. Otherwise, I'd be playing PS5 way more. I love. I won't. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It wouldn't compete. It would just be, hey, this is what we got. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be a bandage, and until they can get the finances to lay the infrastructure, you know what I mean, to get their business model and their plan together, to have their shareholders convene, and no, I understand. They do. I don't think they're hemorrhaging. Sony's not hemorrhaging by any stretch. It's not like Game Pass is murdering Sony. I do think if Sony doesn't come up with something roughly equivalent, or I think Game Pass will murder Sony. I mean, and I think that'll be down the line. I'm confident Sony will come up with something.
Right there, what you just said. If it happens, it would have to be that they made better content than Sony, and that, my friend, I doubt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we
It's that's why
you can't.
That's why I said it's still kind of up in the air.
You know,
you can't just be generically saying. Yeah, I get it though. If they do pull it off and have better content,
if it's successful, successful, then yeah.
They need something to compete. Because whether it's as successful as some people would like it to be, or more successful than some people would like it to
I
be,
disagree.
it is a success.
I don't think they need anything to compete because they have quality games. Me, that's 10 years, but like, you know, I missed out on The Last of Us. I missed out on I've missed out on a lot of the games the last 10 years. The last God of War I wanted to play.
But you have to have quality games.
Now you get to play it on PC, bro.
Friendly.
I'm gonna jump in and say I actually agree with Hobgoblin to an extent. Do I believe that they need to have a Game Pass like the same exact model, or even something like exactly what they're doing with Game Pass? No, but I do believe that they do have to have something that will tackle the concept of what Game Pass is.
Exactly.
Because like just if you think about what Game Pass is capable of, like potential wise, then yes, that would be something very, very difficult for Sony.
Is that enough to pull
guys, we all agree that.
Man, I
Go ahead,
gotta
Jay.
just read, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. So I hear what you guys talking about. I was here for the rise of Game Pass. I was the first beta tester for PlayStation. Now, what works for Microsoft is not going to work for PlayStation. What makes Microsoft successful might not make PlayStation successful. So I feel like it's more like, hey, this is a good deal. Everybody should do something like this. But what's working for you might not work for PlayStation.
Well, but I don't think it has a choice, and it doesn't have a choice because that's great.
What makes you
have
think
a
that,
horse,
though?
but if the guy next to
Well,
you,
I mean, I would agree with. Okay. Let me break this down to you.
Lamborghini still sell.
Let me break it down to you.
True, but not as much.
You do have a choice when you do have a choice when you actually have money coming in to fund your next project or your
I would agree.
projects.
But are you contending?
So again, that's but that's not Xbox, bro. I'm talking about PlayStation. Gamers buy games
right
to the point that they fund their next project and their following project. That means they didn't need a subscription service.
But you understand
However, hold on. However, we already have an existing subscription service which they're also making money off, which is PlayStation Plus, which has 40 million subscribers, right? So on top of getting subscription money just off of that, and then also getting money from games selling boatloads, and then all the money you're getting from the cuts of being the market leader because multi-platform games are selling 70 to 90% better on PlayStation consoles than Xbox consoles. I don't see a situation where PlayStation will be in a life or death struggle to copy off of Xbox. Because they can't fucking do they can't maintain their pockets. I just don't see that.
Can I rebuttal that with a few numbers?
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Everybody, before you say that,
numbers talk.
My bad. Before you say that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys say this, but we're getting ready to end the show. We've been running this shit for like 3 hours, but
my bad, brother.
No. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not trash.
No, I was just so I think everybody here kind of knows I'm a bit of a numbers guy by now. So numbers for me are they're easy. I like numbers. So here, I'll give you a little thing about numbers, right? Let's not take the $15 price point for Ultimate. Let's not take the $10 price point for Standard, right? Because just personally, because I don't have the empirical data on that. So let's split it, right? Let's say what's the median difference between 15 and 10? That'd be 12.5, right? 2.5 in either direction. Is that fair?
What about the dollar?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
What about the dollar?
And there are dollars. And there are dollars. There are dollars too. So if you want to
Yeah,
break
so
it
you
down
got
that way,
somewhere the average with the $1 and the
for a
15.
month, yeah. What is it? 1 month you get for? Or is
It's
it
3 months on
3
PC.
months, something
3
like
months.
that.
It used to be a year. My year's up. It ended the other day,
I know
so
that
I
fucking
gotta.
sucked. I can't believe it. But okay. So you know what? Even then, all right. Let's take the $1, even though.
And it's renewable. You can get that deal more than once. So
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
I
take
should
it.
have done it 9 times. A lot
Well,
of guys got it for
let's
9 years for
extrapolate
$1.
it. Let's extrapolate it based off a numerical sample, right? So we know for a fact. We don't have the exact figures. No one does. But we know for a fact. 24 point. I think it's roughly what they imagine. Like 24.2 million people are not on a $1 subscription, but they're not on a $15 either, and that's fair. So let's take the median then between both extremes. Let's call it the original 10. Does that seem fair to you guys? Just so we have a bit of objectivity in the numbers.
Yeah, sure.
Take
Go
10.
ahead.
Yeah, go
And
ahead,
10's an
man.
easy number to multiply by, right? So let's take 24.2. What's 24.2 times 10? There's
242.
Well, yeah, and change.
Hey, you're
Right,
the numbers
exactly.
guy. You're the numbers
They're
guy.
at like 20, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so let's take that. Let's call it an even 242, even though it's 0.23 something repeated. We'll cut that off. It's an even number, right? Okay, then let's move that forward. Let's say that's everything, right? Now you multiply that by that amount of money. So you carry that, add 3 zeros. What do you get? All right, well,
You tell me.
Go ahead.
Saliently speaking, here's what you're getting.
142K.
Yeah, here's what you're getting. Saliently speaking, every month. Game Pass is generating billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in revenue. That is an exponentially, because it's more than double-digit growth, right? Exponential is defined as anything more than single-digit growth. So once you cross the threshold of 0.09, to 1.0, you could have 0.99, I suppose. But
Wait,
after
how
0.9,
dumb? You just
So
say
20 billion times $10.
no,
$2
it's
billion?
not 20 billion. If you had 20 billion
20
subscribers to Game Pass, that
20
shit would be on
million times
Mars.
$10. What is that?
So if you take 20, so let's take 24 million, right, times 10. What's that?
Well, they got 20. They just said they're around
240 million.
Can we be like realistic?
Here's what's happening.
Like the guy
hang
just
on.
said,
Do
bro.
you know how
we
much
don't have
money
20
Sony made
million,
last year?
so
Sure,
you would probably like
25
be better
billion.
doing 18
They
million.
profited 4.
So here's
you know how much this shit cost?
Whatever the ones. Okay, but it's
10
not
times
18
18
million.
million.
That's a January number. We know that's not true.
Well,
it's been,
that's the public
No, we
number.
seen they had the financials that leaked out.
No,
we should go by what they gave us, not what we think they are.
Microsoft is clear. There's been a 37.2% increase, right? So take that number and multiply it by 0.372.
So it's like 23 million, right?
So take 18 million, right? Multiply it by 0.372. Add the difference.
I know it's like 0.3 million, right?
Yeah, no, a little more than that. It's so 1/3 of 18 million is roughly 6 million. So you're looking at a little.
So what are you
over
talking, like 24, 25 million?
No, less
Closer
than
to 30?
25. Less than 25. It's if you were to take 37, the 0.372 multiplied by the 18, you get like 24 and change.
So you're telling me they got 24 million right now subscribers?
No, I'm telling you, they're telling me they got that because that's the number they get.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
telling
That's
you
what I
they
mean.
got. I'm telling you, they're telling me that's what they got.
I wish they
That
gave
could
a
be
number
true.
instead of a percentage.
Sure,
that's what I just wish they would have been honest.
I agree. They should do flat numbers.
No, I mean they did it in January.
So let's go with 25.
Why are they not doing it now? Like you
Because
gave a
it's
number in January, but you're not giving one
January.
now.
It's not January. It's a yearly.
No. That's what I'm saying. You were confident enough to give a number in January, but now you're a chicken shit and you don't want to give a number in October.
I don't say no because you'll get the number in January.
I'm just saying it's like why can't the company just give us a number? Like they're
because
proud
that's
enough
not how quarterly financial reports work.
Hey guys. Hey, yo. Hey, look, I know this is we're having a great conversation, bro. I would really love to continue this shit. If you guys want to jump into Discord, because we could definitely continue the conversation there. But We've been running this shit for like 3 hours, bro.
I got you.
I got games to play. Unlike y'all niggas that got Game Pass.
I'm playing
and
right now.
old
I'm
ass
literally
games.
playing
I got AAA games to play right now. AAA, not no AA, not no Game Pass, not something from last year. I'm playing games now.
No, I mean, no, look,
Game came out last year, Josh. What the fuck you talking about, bitch tits?
Hey, look. Now
I got Hail
look,
Bash Chief that look the same. I don't do the grapple.
I've enjoyed having the conversation with all of you guys here, man. I really did, man. Low key, I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of low key don't even want to end it, but bro, we gotta end it. So,
all right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for having me and not killing me.
Yo, come back next week, yo. Come back next week.
For sure. DM me whenever, boys.
Yeah,
all right,
man,
cool.
We'd love to have you on.
Catch you later. Have a great one, guys.
But guys, if you guys aren't following, man, go ahead and follow the Twitter. This is the content that we got, yo. But
And by the way, before we end it, now I'm doing it. Catch this shit on YouTube. Is a YouTube link in here too, so you have the whole thing. This shit was wild earlier. But yeah.
I just wanted to say one thing, but it was like $4 billion or something like that they'd make. Like Sony made $25 billion last year. They profited $4. Like that's how much the shit cost, and they didn't just buy a publisher with 2,500 fucking employees.
Yeah,
that shit is fucking expensive.
Is one aspect though.
All right, guys, we're not doing this. Discord. Follow that Discord link. We'll continue the conversation there. No, I'm joking. All right, guys. Peace out, man. We're gonna go ahead and end this.
All right, later, guys.
All right, bye.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you on Discord, man.
All right, man.